for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Wendy Bell Radio is live. Is it dark in here?
Hi, everybody. Guess what today is?
Hump day!
It is hump day. I'm so excited. I love hump day.
Talk about the contagion kit so I can do my thing.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just get right to it. All right. I want to tell you quickly as you guys are joining in. First of all, welcome. We were number 5 yesterday on the leaderboard. I think we had 130,000 views or 100,000 views. 102,000 views. Day before that, I think we had 130. That's amazing. But even more important than that is how you guys participate in the show. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that you do this. And I appreciate that you care about our sponsors. I want to tell you quickly about the wellness company. And I want to tell you twc.health/Wendy is where you find them. And they want me to talk today specifically about their contagion kit, which is really important. But I would say that all of their kits are fantastic. Now they're giving me a malware alert on this. As I try to open it, Brock, it says, don't open. Possible malicious link. So I'm not going to open that. But I'm going to tell you what the wellness company does. And they sprung up because of COVID and how we were restricted from getting medicines that people like Dr. McCullough and Dr. Mackus and Dr. Malone and others, Scott Jensen, were trying to provide for their patients. And these medicines work. And so the wellness company was born to say, you know what, we're going to provide things to you. And they're not going to go through all the channels of CVS Pharmacy or Rite Aid or what have you. We're going to sell direct to you. And they put together these wonderful kits. This contagion kit is significant. Today at the hospital, Joe has to wear a mask. Why? We don't know. Starting today at the hospital system. So obviously something is in the works. Get your contagion kit. Check out their company, twc.health/Wendy. 10% off, free shipping, America only. Sorry, not to be exclusionary, but that's the way it goes. How's everybody? How you doing? I got an email from somebody who requested personally to be a boyfriend.
That kind of takes it away.
Well, I don't know. You have to be selected.
Yeah, that's just...
I'm just going to say.
I don't know. That's kind of reeks of desperation.
I don't know if it was... I don't know if it's
okay,
desperate.
guys,
No.
listen. Desperation looks good on no one, like jealousy. Looks color on no one.
Yes.
Desperation does not... yeah.
Now, to that individual whose identity I protect because he is innocent
but I can mock you. I don't know who you are, so I'm allowed to mock you.
Of any scurrilous lies, I'm here to tell you I'm on your side.
What?
I'm on his side. He wants to be a boyfriend.
Oh, I thought you meant you're on his side, that desperation is a good color.
I didn't think it was desperate. I thought it was very sweet and charming. So Ryan he did his 3rd round with the Tennessee,
When's he hear back?
The volunteer ambassador program, because he wants to work and show other people, prospective students, the University of Tennessee. And it's this super coveted program.
I'd love to call them and be like, dude, this is the geek you want.
Just go.
Yeah, this is the kid you want.
Yeah. So 600 kids whittled down to 60. And yesterday was the 3rd and final lightning round interviews, but it was 1 on 3. So he was by himself.
Well, remind me, we'll have to play Rocky Top during the show.
They asked him, so why did you want to do this? Why do you want to donate so much of your free time as a student to pumping the school? And he said, you know what? I didn't realize until she died that my Grammy was an ambassador at Northwestern University.
Great answer.
And he's like,
Boom.
He's like, and I'm ashamed to say I didn't spend enough time with my Grammy before she died to find that out.
Kid got in.
And I was like, damn, you're good. You're good.
Well, he also meant
true,
it.
But that's good.
My college essay, wasn't stellar. I scored less than 1,000 on my SATs. My grades were good, but my essay was on my mom.
Of course.
And they're like, this essay was fantastic. I'm like, it must have been great. It had to make up for my grades and SAT scores.
Go, Ryan. Thinking about you, brother. And hello, Gail. Good morning, sweetheart. I know you're watching.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America, and greetings all across the fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Common sense, conservative values, 15 hours a week. Hey, if you're not getting the whole show, wherever you're tuning in from, if somebody cuts out or doesn't cover it all, it's an easy way to bounce over to us, the Wendy Bell Radio Network app, guys. Totally free. Download it onto your device. Join the live video stream. And join our chat. We have thousands of people every day chattering back and forth about this thing that is happening in these United States of America. There is progress. There is optimism. There is a buzz. There is a vibe that I have not felt in years. And we are starving for it. We're going to tell you some great news today. Great news for a Pennsylvania son coming home to the loving arms of his country and his flag as President Donald Trump moves forward with promises made, promises kept. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. We have so much to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. We've got DOGE uncovering hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud and corruption and all of that, and a bag of donuts. We've got Marc Fogel. Marc Fogel, Pennsylvania teacher locked up in Russia in his own personal hell for 1,278 days. You know who can understand what that means? Hundreds of January 6ers. We're going to talk about all of that in a minute, but I gotta get something off my chest. All right? And I got to send a message to Apple. Apple, listen to me, all right? I'm done with your updates. I'm done with all of the stuff that you do in the middle of the night that throws my phone and my computer all the way upside down and inside out. I don't really care that Siri can talk to me as an Australian man. I want to know that my phone works. And when I look at something on my phone, and if I delete it on my phone, lo and behold, it's deleted on my computer. None of this works. Everything is upside down. And you know what I don't want to do, Apple? I don't want to go to one of your service people. I'm going to walk into one of your stores, and there's going to be some snot-nosed kid who's like 4, and they're going to come over, and they're going to scoff at me and plug something in, hit a button. It's all going to be fine. And I'm going to want to choke them, and I'm going to want to throw them down the steps. We are a very basic people. We don't need your updates. Make something work, make it work predictably, make it work all the time, in fact. And I will love you forever. Right now, ooh, how I feel is how an awakening America is feeling as they're going to H&R Block and they're bending over and they're realizing what the hell Joe Biden and his ship of miscreant ne'er-do-well fools stuck them with. There is a woman in her car using some very colorful language. Now, of course, unlike Anderson Cooper, we don't swear on the air here, ladies and gentlemen, at the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We understand. A lot of youths out there listen to this program as well, and I'm glad you do, because it's never too early to start being smart. I want you to hear this woman have a total literal breakdown as she realizes that her taxes are a lot more complicated than they ever were. Buckle up and enjoy.
This is for the IRS. I filed my taxes for free, but it wasn't really for free because I had to pay for it when I got to the end and got done. Then I got an email that it was rejected because I didn't fill out a PIN number of some that I've never heard of, never had to do before. And so you're rejecting it for some that I've never had to do and don't understand. And everyone's like, oh, why don't you pay somebody to do it for you? Pay them for what? I'm not getting back. So why am I going to pay somebody more money that I'm even going to get in a return? And if you're taking money out of my paycheck every week that I get one, you know how much you took out. So why is it up to me at the beginning of the year to figure out how much you took out and if you owe me something back? And if you didn't take enough out, why do I have to pay that to you when you should have just taken enough out? Someone please explain to me how it's legal, how it makes any damn sense, and why is it my responsibility? You're taking the money out. You tell me how much you owe me or how much I owe you. You tell me. And why would I owe you anything if you're already taking money from me? Hey.
Oh my gosh.
I feel her pain.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's like Harry Met Sally. Yes. 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 That's what it is. This is what the Democrats have done. This is what the deep state does to you. This is the establishment of running through oatmeal on an endless hamster wheel of suck. That's what it sounds like. That moment you realize that you've been screwed. Fill in your word in the blank. You've been boop done. Okay, now that we have your attention, anybody out there who is in the dark about why we voted for freaking Donald Trump, hear me now. We're done. We're done with the fraud. We're done with the incompetence. We're done with people who have really good jobs, making really good money, making tens of millions of dollars as we go to the store and wonder how we're going to make ends meet. It's not complicated, and you're missing the freaking boat. Democrats, you either figure your crap out now and stop going after Elon Musk and people who want to expose how we've been screwed for so long, or you will never, ever win another election again. Mark my words. Any questions? Now that we have that out of the way, what a glorious day yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. One of the White House communications came across my email inbox, and I opened it, and it was a very succinct one-paragraph read that a teacher from Pennsylvania who got arrested in Russia while he was working there as an educator, he and his wife did, traveled all over the country, all over the world, I should say, teaching children of American citizens, ambassadors, diplomats, people who represent the United States abroad, teaching those children American history. Snarled in a bust, they found medical marijuana on him and thrown away. Joe Biden couldn't be trifled with it. President Trump could. And I want you to hear Marc Fogel in total awe as he touches down and gets out of his transport at the White House, where the President of the United States is waiting for him. Mark draped in an American flag. Listen.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes. I am in awe of what they all did. My family has been a force. I think my 95-year-old mother is probably the most dynamic 95-year-old on earth right now. And I am so indebted to so many people.
Marc Fogel continues. He says, I am at a loss for words. But at the end of this audio soundbite, remember, promises made, promises kept.
Thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
I remember.
And,
she made quite an impression.
And you also did. Yeah. And I'm in awe of what you've done and your team.
It's great to have you back.
It's great to have you back. One person's life is like a pebble on the water. And the ripple effect from that can touch each and every one of us. That, my friends, is what America First sounds like. That is what we voted for. Quick timeout. When we're back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Tulsi Gabbard in the next couple hours expected to be confirmed as the next director of national intelligence, and so much more. Don't miss a moment of today's Wendy Bell radio program right after this.
You have to remember, and this is what I was trying to tell you, that Joe Biden got a hostage back too. Brittany Griner.
I wasn't going to sully his
who wouldn't stand for the
moment. Yeah.
We got her back, but this guy took.
I'd send her back.
They wouldn't take the swap, probably.
You just keep her.
Yeah.
You can keep her.
we don't need anything in return.
What do we have to give you?
Yeah.
So that you keep her. Look,
I'd rather have Snowden back.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm a great deal maker. Here's what I'm going to do, Vlad.
Yes.
You keep Brittany, and we'll throw in, as a token of our appreciation,
Chuck Schumer,
Karine Jean-Pierre. Come on.
Done and done.
I mean, come on.
So we didn't talk about this, but isn't it a little suspicious that she hasn't landed a job anywhere yet?
We'll see. We'll see. You know what? She probably is missing some magnesium in her diet. She needs some native balance. So my friends at Native Path, who make so many wonderful products, if you just go to nativepath.com, you're going to find a bunch of stuff. But I really like this particular nativebalance.com/Wendy. And they call magnesium deficiency this invisible deficiency that so many of us have, because 99% of this mineral is found in your bones and in your cells. And it's almost impossible to test whether you have enough or not. But you can bank on the not. So signs of magnesium deficiency, they're kind of vast. And if you have a couple of these, you might be saying, maybe I should try this. How about muscle weakness? Maybe you have some nerve pain. You find yourself constipated. You've got headaches. You feel fatigued. You have lower blood levels of calcium. You feel like you're kind of apathetic, like bleh. You're suffering some stress, right? Everybody is, but twitchers, tremors, muscle cramps. This product contains the two most important forms of magnesium, particularly for seniors: magnesium oxide and magnesium glycinate, plus the youth-giving herb ashwagandha. I think it's important. I know that I have taken magnesium with fantastic results in the past. This is something that I think you should give a shot to, or at least read about. Go to nativebalance.com/Wendy and see if any of the things that they talk about resonate with you. There are millions of ways for us to stay well that don't involve a prescription. And I think we're constantly searching for various ways to add things to our diet so that we're doing well, all naturally. Magnesium, that's it. I just like saying ashwagandha. Makes me feel special.
Chuck Juice has ashwagandha in it.
Does it really?
Yeah. We discussed that yesterday.
Oh, when I was when I was fighting with my zipper.
I told you all. I watch the coach struggle every day.
Hi, G. Fontes 119. Thank you, babe.
Getting people back.
Hi, Darius.
Tulsi Gabbard. Only one thing to play.
You can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there. And I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
So that is the story back here on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Tulsi set to be confirmed this morning. Apparently, DC got hit with a storm. We wouldn't want to have all the octogenarians in the Senate with their walkers and their wheelchairs. I mean, honest to God, can we put these people out to pasture already? Isn't it time for y'all to move along? I'm going to go with yes. So they had to push this vote. They say, all right, well, we'll readjourn. We'll reconvene rather. Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock, it's supposed to be done. And then we can get to Kennedy and then we can get to cash. Look, these stalls are a matter of how quickly can we get rid of our information? How much time do we need to burn all those documents in the burn pits? How long can we zzz through the paper shredder of life, delete the paper trail that shows how dirty we have been? I have no doubt that that is what is going on. You know, and if you hear one thing today, if you go back and you listen to one 30-minute clip of information that happened from yesterday, make it the President Trump, Elon Musk Oval Office conversation with a smattering of the media. Elon's in with his little boy. You got Stephen Miller on the side, watching what's going on, Trump's deputy chief of staff for policy. And they're going through what Elon is finding. And he very methodically walks through. This is what we've uncovered so far. This is only scratching the surface. And you hear the media and the things that they are interested in asking about. It's all aha. It's all gotcha. How do we know that you're not getting secret information? Because, you know, Elon Musk is desperate to find out all about Wendy Bell's finances, right? And he's like, look, that's not what I'm doing. And it's wonderful that we have oversight. And if you find that we've done something wrong, I'm sure you will notify us and we will correct it quickly. I'm not perfect, but I'm not a dirtbag. I want what you voted Donald Trump in for, and that is to clean house. Our government is out of control. The establishment is out of control. And we're here to rein it back in. We should all be behind that. Period. Now, I found this very interesting poll, and it's on Breitbart. There is a big divide in this country, in many ways, but between Republicans and Democrats, in the enthusiasm that we're feeling. I am joyful when I see something put out by DOGE on X. And if you're not following that account, please do. And it's every day. That with the Rapid Response 47X handle, boom, 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 boom. They're sending things out, progress every single hour. It's not uncommon to get multiple things an hour. This is what we're looking at. This is what we found. This is where we're going next. There's no mystery, right? Democrats are listening to the corporate media and the childish tantrums, which clearly illustrate that a lot of these people in the machine are dirty as balls and they have a lot to lose. And they're going to fight to the death for this, to shut down Elon Musk and to tell you this is a constitutional crisis. It's all the same song and dance. And you're familiar with it because they did this all back in his first term as well. This poll, though, says Republican voters overwhelmingly back Senate Republicans' efforts to confirm Trump nominees. You would expect this. This is huge. Nearly 90% of Republican voters approve of Senate Republicans' feverish work to confirm President Donald Trump's nominees, according to a poll exclusively obtained by Breitbart News. Democrats are obviously trying to slow down the process, but we have been moving right along. That Senate Majority Leader John Thune said in a written statement, and we will continue to maintain an aggressive pace until President Trump has his entire team in place. As Senate Republicans remain poised to confirm 14 of Trump's nominees as of February 11th, so yesterday, 22 days into his administration, a pace almost twice as fast as the Biden administration or Trump's first administration. A survey affiliated with Senate Republican Conference Chair Tom Cotton found that Republican voters are enthusiastic about the Senate's blistering pace. Look, guys, this isn't shocking, but it actually is. Because not only are Senate Republicans aligning, instead of being cats out there in the wilderness being herded by somebody, there is an alignment, and it's called political survival. Because America is paying attention. That woman in her car losing her ever-loving mind over her freaking taxes and how absolutely outrageously complicated, gummy, and impossible the system has become. The same thing with your phone and your devices. Technology, it's supposed to make everything so much better for us. It sucks. It sucks. Because the minute it goes haywire, everything goes upside down and inside out. People realize that this is what America wants. The majority want this. And more people are waking up to this. Because when you hear the grift, when you hear the outrageous, almost inconceivable garbage that you've been working your tail off to pay for, it's called game over. Get her done. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Maxine Waters, 86 years old, literally challenging Elon Musk to a fight. I mean, honest thought, you can't make it up. I got got it all for you coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, let me tell you guys about Texas Bullion Exchange. TexasBullion.com is the website. 855-927-5557 is the phone number. I really enjoy being taught things in realms I don't know enough about. And I freely admit when Texas Bullion approached us and said, hey, we really like your story. We like your message and your delivery. And we'd like to get behind you and support you. I thought, okay, well, sadly, I know nothing about gold or silver or platinum or palladium. And so I had to have a really quick crash course. And they've methodically taken me through the steps, the history of banking, the history of precious metals, why it's such a good idea, why you don't have to be a millionaire to be in the position to get metals into your life or into your hand. It's important. 855-927-5557. They're the people I trust. I'm a client of theirs. So Joe and I have bought gold and silver from Texas Bullion, and we will continue to do so. This is a relationship I'm going to have with them for, I would imagine, as long as I live. I trust them. I think you can too. TexasBullion.com. I was a little fussy there, wasn't I? It's okay. It's all right.
I think I started it sending you that woman with the IRS.
Well, you heard me this morning as I was losing my mind, this update, and probably something I did wrong managed to throw off how I receive information from people.
You know how much you scared me?
So frustrating.
Look what's on my phone. It's a settings update, and I refuse to hit it.
I'm scared. It's scary. And so now everything is wacky, and now I've got to go to the stupid Apple store, and they're very nice. They're very nice, but you shouldn't be speaking a foreign language. And this race for AI, and we got to do this. And we got to do? We need to put this crap down, and we need to go outside, and we need to go for a walk and eat a sandwich. That's what we need to do. We don't need more time on our freaking phones. And by the way, I'm the most culpable, so I can throw myself under the bus there.
I just hate that they think you want all this stuff, and it's going to make it easier. And
it never makes anything easier.
I'm like, my big thing with Apple and why I like Apple products, that you don't get viruses on your computers. They talk to each other, which is when you're doing something like this. I know there's going to be people out there, I hate Apple, but when you do something like this and you have 3 devices in front of you and they can all talk,
I can understand that.
It's so nice, right?
I can understand
and
that.
Apple used to be so user-friendly until there's an update. And it resets things and says...
It's like going to the grocery store and they decide to move everything around. You're like, you know what? I really like where everything was because I can get in and out really quickly because I know where everything is. So when you're thinking you're making everything more streamlined, or you're going to put this out front, you're going to put this on the side, don't. Just put them somewhere, put things somewhere, and let them be. Okay? Because it pisses us off. It makes me angry.
I thought it was great when they had the button for your...
Say it correctly, please.
Button for your...
You're
thumb.
So bad as a
And I'm like,
millennial.
oh, this is great. And then they're like, no, now you got to do the facial thing. And you're like...
It's
wild. And I'm like, what?
Hey, let me tell you guys about one thing that you want to have underneath your kitchen sink. And it's called disinfectwithsniper.com. Sniper is perhaps the game-changing spray in your house. This is the thing that kills bacteria like nobody's business. The beautiful thing about it, too, is you don't have to wipe it up. You can spray a surface. You can spray anything and let it sit, and it's not going to cause any damage. You don't have to wipe it away. And then it stays, and it fights germs, bacteria, COVID, MRSA, parvovirus, fungal infections like athlete's foot, and a whole host of other unsightly things we couldn't think about for 30 days. For 30 days. And then you think to yourself, you're like, God, I wish I could get rid of this odor in this environment I'm in. You have a baby and they have a diaper genie. And the diaper genie is the most ranked place on planet Earth. You spray that thing with a couple squirts of Knockout, which is the sister product to disinfectwithsniper.com, and it neutralizes the odor. I mean, they use Knockout in veterinarians' offices, where you've got every funky smell in the world, and they spritz it to clean it up. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
Get the gallons cheaper. Oh, wait, whoa. Breaking news.
Oh.
Don't buy it today.
Oh, that's right. Okay, don't buy it. We got a sale coming up. Our last sale, by the way, netted 140,000 miles. That's how far away Sniper traveled in 39 states.
So put it in your cart.
Yeah.
Go to Disinfectant
and
just wait.
Just hang
Friday,
out.
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because he said, let's do something for Valentine's Day because Wendy loves Sniper. And I'm like, He's like, how about President's Day because she loves Sniper and Donald Trump. I'm like, weekend sale? Now you're talking. So don't buy today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Don't buy tomorrow. I told him, don't tell me, because the minute you tell me, I'm going to tell people not to buy. I already said, don't expect any orders.
You guys just get both. Knockout and sniper.
Buy the gallon. It's cheaper.
Honest to goodness. The shipping kills you. I get it. We don't control the postal service. And it is liquid. But you're not going to buy it. If you get the gallon, you're not going to buy it again for a year. 6 months at least. You're going to love it.
Yeah, don't buy
You're
it
welcome.
Today. Don't buy it today.
Life-changing. Friday, disinfectwithsniper.com. Truly. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Democrats have literally lost their marbles. I think there are phases. It's sort of like the growth of your children. You know that phase where they cry all the time? It ends when they're about 10. Every single day they cry, right? Boys, girls, it doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden, there's a day and the tears stop. Unless it's something serious, right? We're in that phase where every single day, more and more people are awakening to the idea that they've been completely lied to. And not just by the Democrats. Republicans are dirty as heck, too. Let's make that abundantly clear. I'm all about equal opportunity dirtbags going away and being called out and having their wealth taken away from them and being widely ridiculed, mocked for all to see, shamed, embarrassed, so that they go out, people boo them and hiss. I don't care who you are. The Democrats, however, are so desperate to keep this grift, this gravy train going of just this unaccountable government machine. It's just so damn big that it's sort of like your idea is, I know we should get involved, but it's so big. Maybe let's do that tomorrow. And then 40 years pass and you're $36 trillion in debt. So Elon Musk comes in at the pleasure of the president. And Donald Trump says, I need help. I need to identify redundancies in the system. And so what did Elon say to us yesterday? They found ridiculous waste in the Social Security payment system. People who are 150 years old, who I'm going to say are dead. Probably, right? Unless they're still voting in California, who are getting checks that you pay for through Social Security. Don't you think that if that sort of fraud, or let's just say unchecked, what is it? Incompetence? It needs to be addressed for everybody. This doesn't benefit one person or another. It is part of making America great again. But if you listen to people like Maxine Waters, man, she is, first of all, what an ugly human being. And I'm not even talking about her face. Just in the inside of her. And her own grifting. Her own nepotism with family members. You know, when we look at a congresswoman who makes $150,000 to $180,000 a year, but who has a personal wealth portfolio in the double-digit millions and multiple properties, one that's $4 million, I think something is going on that you and I don't get to take advantage of, but I bet you we pay for. So here's Maxine Waters, not able to read the room. She's calling out Elon Musk in this like made for TV fake presentation. It's so ridiculous. The woman is 86 years old. This is behavior unbecoming. Go.
Wow, wow, wow. Look at this crowd. Elon Musk, where are you? Bring your ass over here so you can see who's here and what we're doing. We're not afraid of you. We know that you are the co-president now of the United States of America. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to follow very closely what he's doing and how he has done it. First of all, we're here at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. What is it? This is so important prior to this being organized in the Dodd-Frank reforms, consumers didn't have any place to really file complaints. They didn't have anywhere to go when the biggest banks in America was ripping them off. The student loans were being undermined. They didn't have any place to go. Why does Elon Musk want to get rid of all of this? Because he's a thief. He's a gangster. He brings his billionaire friends along with him because they think that they can take over this country. And Trump has said, you give me enough money, you can have.
He's a gangster. He's a thief. That is a bad performance. It is a bad look always on Maxine Waters. She never fails to disappoint everyone. That is the narrative of these people. Well, as much as she'd like Elon to come over and go at it with her, Elon's a little too busy, you old fossil, as he's exposing the grift, of course, that put illegal aliens up in a 4-star hotel. Well, now 4 FEMA officials have been fired. It's amazing what Elon Musk and Donald Trump, when they put their minds to something, can uncover. DailyCaller.com, Trump admin axes FEMA employees behind $59 million scheme to fund luxury hotel stays for migrants. What are you doing, guys? Do you not understand with the executive orders? All of that spending was to have stopped. And you have nameless, faceless bureaucrats out there who are making money hand over fist, spending your money in ways that don't benefit you. And to the point of the woman inside her car breaking down over the ridiculosity of her taxes and how absolutely stupid the system has become. These people are behind it, and they need you twisted in knots, wringing your hands, tossing and turning, trying to figure it out, playing whack-a-mole every single moment so that they can continue in the darkness, cashing their checks. Of course, these firings at FEMA come after Elon Musk was able to weed out frivolous spending within the U.S. government through his DOGE office and highlighted this price tag, $59 million. You know what? North Carolina should never vote Democrat again. You got screwed. Migrants got paid. That is the fact of the matter. So this Department of Government Efficiency begins in just about 15 minutes to hold its first official hearings about what Elon Musk has been uncovering. And they've put something out together. This is a bipartisan committee, members of the House of Representatives, who are working alongside, or is it Senate? Is it the House, Brock, or is it the Senate?
House.
It's the House. And they're working together, and they put together a video to say to each of you, this is the stuff that we want to know about. This is why you hired Donald Trump. This is why we're getting behind the president, behind your wishes. This is what we plan to do. And we are going to drop some eye-popping abuse and fraud on you. Listen.
Over the last 20 years,
the United States government has wasted
$2.7 trillion in improper payments.
Just last year,
$170 billion were overpayments made to dead people,
criminals,
or those no longer eligible for government programs.
Over $44 billion.
$44 billion?
$44 billion.
Over $44 billion were made in payments that could be here or not. They just don't know.
Medicare and Medicaid are the biggest contributors to improper payments.
Under the Biden administration, $764 billion went up in flames due to many factors like inaccurate record keeping or outright fraud.
By taking a deep dive into these organizations, the DOGE subcommittee can effectively eliminate the money spent by unelected bureaucrats.
Putting trillions of dollars back in the pockets of American taxpayers should not be a partisan issue.
It's our job to identify waste, fraud, and abuse in the government.
We are done putting America last.
We're done putting America last.
We're done putting America last.
Americans deserve to know where their taxpayer dollars are going and how their government spends it, and that's exactly what the DOGE subcommittee is going to give them.
Okay, so that begins today in about 15 minutes. It's going to be covered, I'm sure, by C-SPAN. And if you haven't locked that in as must-see appointment watching, please do. You know what they're going to uncover? They're going to uncover things like this, ladies and gentlemen. USAID gifted a cement factory to Hamas. How $310 million in your taxpayer money helped create the Gaza terror tunnels. Are you out of your mind? We funded both sides of that war. We provided the financial cover for CIA covert operations to topple foreign governments and install people that people in foreign countries never voted for and didn't want. But the globalists did. We paid for that. At the end of the day, don't you want reasonable prices? Don't you want to be able to buy a house and get a mortgage payment that you can manage? God forbid, maybe your children need orthodontia. Should that seem like a 1%er splurge? Or do we need to get real about the outrageous acceleration in the cost of things that is effectively stolen from Generation Z, of which all 5 of my sons are members? The idea of the American dream. Maxine, if you want to pretend with your theatrics that Donald Trump is Hitler and Elon Musk is the co-president, and that what they're doing is akin to theft, and they want to root around in the bowels of a system that should be private forever, if you believe what Elizabeth Warren said, oh my, and I'm sure she wishes she could redo it, that nowhere in the United States Constitution does it say that regular American citizens get to know how the government spends their money. If that's what you believe, hear me when I say you are so on the losing end of this war. We have been abused. We have been overtaxed. We have been manipulated. We have been propagandized. We have been told lies to send our boys to war, and they don't want it to stop. Done. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I'm not the only one who's saying that people like Maxine and Democrats in general are not getting the message. Joe Rogan said something very interesting on his show this week, and it is exactly that. Wake up, lefties, or you're never going to win again. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. A freaking cement factory. I don't have huevos, but I feel like they were just kicked. I love how many of you are interested in getting Healthy Cell. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. This is an easy way to get essential nutrients, vitamins, minerals, things that we need and perhaps are deficient in into our bodies. And a lot of people have a difficult time with pills, and the absorption of these pills is not nearly as good as it is when you take these nutrients and you put them in a gel form. And so that's exactly what Healthy Cell has done. They take all sorts of different formulas of things like this for heart and cardiovascular health. Pretty important. And they say, why wouldn't we try to lower your cholesterol and get your blood and your body doing all the things that you need to do without you taking Lipitor? Do you want to be on a cholesterol drug for the rest of your life? Or would you consider Healthy Cell? Strawberry. It's delicious. Sucking this in once a day and maybe doing something different. Are you ready to try something different? I was. Focus and recall, game changer. REM sleep, game changer. HealthyCell.com. It's easy. It's delicious. It's not outrageously priced. And it ain't from Big Pharma. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. I'm feeling a little sassy today. My son, son of a mother, my elbow, I swear to God, I'm going to cut off my arm. My son, Jack, gave me a little comment last night as he was trying to help me with this thing with my phone and my computer. Blah, 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 blah. And so he looks at my phone. He goes, "Oh my God, how many emails do you get?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how much is junk?" And he's like, "You got to stop that." And I'm like, "Really? Is that what I should be doing?" Okay. Right. I needless to say, went upstairs and washed my face and went to bed. I'm sure there are a lot of things that I need to do, sweetheart. That's going to be on the lower end of my list today, but when I get around to it, I'll let you know. It's like my dad. So Jack said we should get my father, who loves steak and grilling and pork tenderloins and things like that on the grill, loves the grill. He's like, we should get him this product that allows him to do thermometer like testing on the grill by his phone. So he can tell when the steak is going to be done.
He's old school.
It's called Meter, MEATER. So my dad had called the company and asked to get walked through because it's the description of how you do it to somebody who's already not extraordinarily technologically savvy. You start at a point where you've already lost people. And my dad was like, I got it. It took me a while. I got it. It's great. I made the most perfect steak. And he's like, if I hadn't used the meter, I would have destroyed the steak. I would have done it too long. And it was like a $60 steak. He's like, I love it. But they don't talk to you at this level and then build upon that. And I'm like, oh boy, Dad, I'm flipping 54. I'm not that old. And I feel like I'm just out there in the wilderness. I'm like roaming the prairie as a dinosaur. Like, so vexing. Thank you for allowing me to spill that because it matters not at all to you. I'm keenly aware of that.
Yeah, we all feel your pain.
I'm totally aware of that. You know, Joe Rogan is tearing in the Democrats for not course correcting after Donald Trump's victory. I mean, he said, look, there's a reason Trump won. It wasn't hard. He came on my program. I've told you guys the story, right? Where I had some painting work done at my house. And this guy who's super hard to get, who's off the charts, phenomenal. Weird guy. You know how I like weird. He's got a man bun. Clearly a liberal. Clearly delightful. Love him. Love him. So talented. So right around the election, he's upstairs in the hallway, in between all my son's bedrooms and bathrooms and an upstairs laundry room. We're getting some new carpet, so he's pulling back the carpet and he's painting the floorboards, right? Tedious. So I come in to say hello to him because he lets himself into the house. I come in, say hello to him, and see how he's doing. And he's asking me what I think about Trump. And I said, well, you know, I'm a conservative. I obviously want that. And he's like, well, you know, I listened to him really for the first time on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I said, really? And he said, yes, all 3 hours. It was very interesting. All 3 hours, very interesting. He says, I tried to find anything from Kamala Harris, anything so I could do my own this or that comparison. I could find nothing that was even remotely close. And then JD Vance was on Joe Rogan. And then Donald Trump was on this other podcast that I listened to, maybe with Patrick Bet-David or whatever it was. And I understood so much more about the man because he spent the time. He showed up and it changed my mind. And he's like, I've never voted for a Republican before. And today I voted for Donald Trump. And I said, well, I hope it works out. I think it will, but I get it. That connection in terms of Generation Z, in terms of young men in general, and Rogan pointed this out, we just want to have conversations. And if you need smoke and mirrors and you need to pay people in order to appear on their programs, and you need selective editing, and you need special lighting, and certain questions are off limits, that's not a conversation. This younger generation sees through that. Joe Rogan tore into Democrats for refusing to, quote, course correct in the months after President Trump won victory in the 2024 election. This is on the New York Post. During Monday's episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he trashed traditional left-leaning media personalities and politicians, saying the Democratic Party would continue shedding people until Democrats learn to correct and connect with the voters. They're not course correcting at all, he said during a conversation with comedian Bridget Feetsey. I think that's how you pronounce her name. They're saying stupid stuff. It's all just total nonsense, Rogan said. We don't trust the New York Times. We don't trust the Washington Post. We don't trust CNN or MSNBC, Rogan continued. They're all full of propaganda. And so that's why the internet rose. It's not because there was some sort of flipping right-wing conspiracy heavily funded. Candidates came on and told the truth. Rogan, who interviewed President Trump the month before the election, compared the Democratic Party's loss to a buffalo jump, an ancient indigenous practice where hunters would draw buffalo to the edge of a tall cliff, push them over, and then collect them at the bottom. The Democrats, they're going to go off that cliff. There's no way they're not. And Rogan blamed left-leaning media outlets for the disconnect with voters. You guys effing suck, he said. You're not real people. Nobody wants to hang out with Brian Stelter, the host said, slamming the longtime CNN reporter. None of these people are people that people can relate to and like. 12 million people on an average basis listen to what he says on a daily basis. And Rogan is able to cross over and bring in, through his many varied conversations with all walks of life, he's able to bring people into a conversation because they feel like they learn something at the end of it. Isn't that amazing? That instead of being brainwashed or indoctrinated by some narrative, some nameless, faceless elite bureaucrat is pushing out to the media to parrot. Instead, you can pop over to programs like this and hear snippets of things you might not hear other places, and open up your mind and be interested to learn about other things too. It's so curious that they want you controlled, of course. You thinking for yourself, you seeing with your eyes, and paying the prices out of your own pocketbook. The idea that you won't see the truth and you won't be able to connect the dots is insulting, and it's childish. And Joe Rogan is right. Without a course correction, and there doesn't seem to be one anywhere on the horizon, at least not through the binoculars I'm looking through, this is game over for the Democratic Party. Without rampant cheating, how are you going to come back? Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we're going to talk about this whole idea of auditing federal spending, because the media that we were just talking about wants you to believe this is a constitutional crisis. Oh no, you saving money shouldn't be allowed. And Elon Musk need to be thrown away before he finds more of it. Oh my, I got it all for you next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'll be right back, guys.
Constitutional crisis. We knew that's what we would hear. They all parrot the same things because they all have to read it because none of them believe it. And you have these people who commit fraud every day and part of the grift of the government that are scared to death that their millions are going to dwindle away and they're going to have to live like everybody else. You know, Chuck Schumer coming out yesterday saying, yes, there's fraud in the government. We know, but Elon Musk is taking a hatchet to it. Well, what does it matter how you get it out? You just admitted there's fraud, yet you have attorneys going after Elon Musk to stop finding the fraud. Well, which is it? Is just a little bit of fraud that we're not supposed to worry about? Or is this going to uncover all these judges whose wives worked at NGOs? And it's just so infuriating to hear the Senate leader, Democrat leader, say, yeah, we know there's fraud, as they hold rallies saying Elon Musk shouldn't be able to look at the fraud. Makes no sense. Yeah, nothing is. These are your dollars. I love when Elizabeth Warren would say, this organization that they want to shut down brought American people $20 billion. Well, you people are ripping us off for $50 billion at a time. So what's 20? If you find fraud worth $500 million, do I care about $20 billion? I care about $20 billion, but in the grand scheme of things, I'll take the $500 billion back before I go, yeah, give me the 20. Don't forget about the rest of it.
So this Dr. Marty stuff is just stupid.
I can't wait for it to come.
So I couldn't sleep last night. Like I told you, I'm frustrated. And so I wake up, it's like 1:15. And I come downstairs and I'm super quiet. And of course Murphy hears me, which sucks. Because he wants to be out with me, which I get. But he wanted to be out over at his food bowl. And I'm like, dude, this is not when you eat. I'm not feeding you right now. And he sat there. And he looked at me and I'm like,
lady, you finally learned how to cook.
I'm like, I'm not giving you that. Okay. So I need to get what I'm supposed to read about this. HealthyDog1.com/Wendy. This is Dr. Marty Goldstein. He's one of America's most renowned holistic veterinarians. Our friend, Dr. Mike, really likes this guy and he speaks about his credibility and his history. So I'm interested, right? So we watched the video. It's like 30 minutes long, 25, 30 minutes. It teaches you so much about dogs, about the pack behavior, and about how so much food that we give them through kibble and whatnot, which isn't bad. It's just not good. And that what he has found, Dr. Marty, and what he makes in this dog food, though expensive, is really preferable to your animals. And he says, which I really appreciated, if you don't want to spend the money to give it to them as the only food they get, you can mix a scoop with half a scoop of water, half a cup of water, hot water, and let it sit, kind of create a gravy and pour that on top of your food. And the dog will love it. And oh my, I'll tell you, my dog loves it.
He prefers it over you.
No. HealthyDog1.com/Wendy. HealthyDog1.com/Wendy. I don't know what else I could say about it. Murphy gives it 2 thumbs up.
2 paws. He gives it 4 paws up.
He likes it. And I do what?
He would have rather had that than sit next to you at 1:00 in the morning.
No, I don't think so.
Where did he go? Next to you or the food bowl?
Again, also quickly, if you are in the look, this is about the point where we start looking at our yards and we start looking at our homes, the exterior, and you're like, gosh, I really wish we could do something to this. If you're thinking about getting some siding, some fresh siding, you know you need some attention to your roof. You've got some pretty tired, creaky old soffit and face, or maybe your gutters and downspouts need a rehab. This is a great time to get on Ireland Contracting's books, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Home exterior remodeling experts, a lot of different financing options to make the project, which it's never a good time to do, but make such a difference, affordable to you. So call 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Talk to Diane. She's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And they'll work with you. I love them. Why did you just sigh?
You did.
You did. I just heard you sigh. Did everybody just hear
breathing.
the sigh? No.
I was just breathing.
That wasn't just a breathing. Oh, snap. I know you. I know you well, sir. I'm going to put some of my Patriots Switch lipstick on.
Moving the needle.
So our friend Maureen from Altoona got her first Patriot Switch package yesterday.
Did she like it?
She texted me and I was like, oh my gosh, tell me what's in it. And I wrote, I love the cosmetics. And she wrote, makeup. I'm like, you go, Maureen. You do that, sister. It's fantastic. Anywho, I mean, duh.
She texted me when she got Sniper.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
She thinks about you when she thinks about bacteria and viruses. I love me. Oh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Donald Trump has been indicted by a grand jury in New York for his alleged hush money payment.
A grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump on state charges stemming from his efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory.
Breaking news, the federal indictment against Donald Trump, all related to his handling of classified documents after leaving office.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
And they're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is now live and official. So auditing federal spending has now become a constitutional crisis. Is that maybe the dumbest thing you've heard in the last 5 minutes? I'm going to go with yes. There is this tired, old, tattered book. It's got all the plays, the media plays. Unfortunately, there are only a couple of them in there. The pages are worn. You can hardly tell what they say anymore because they've been used so freaking many times. And the thing that's baffling, if you step back and you go up to 30,000 feet and you look at what everything is happening below you, and you can see the grifts and you can see the people who are stepping forward, so worried that they're going to be exposed because Elon Musk yesterday in the Oval Office said we're going to be looking at these federal bureaucrats who make $100,000 a year but have a net worth of more than 30 million. Sort of like Samantha Power from USAID. Where'd that come from? We're going to look into that. When you see the people who are most worried about this so-called accountability or audit, I mean, you're left to think one thing, right? You're guilty as nuts. Guilty. I don't even need to know the evidence. It's unfortunate. The play now is the same play as it was back in 2017. Can you imagine what President Trump could have accomplished? Even though he accomplished a lot in his first term, can you imagine what he could have done? What didn't have to happen? There wouldn't have been war in the Middle East. Something would have happened there. It wouldn't have been calamitous bloodshed. Russia and Ukraine wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And Trump said something, 1.5 million dead from not just the soldiers, but the collateral damage of the people in the countries that have just gotten bombed to smithereens. That didn't have to happen. If they hadn't meddled, if they had just stayed out of it and allowed the president who was duly voted for by 63 million people in 2016 to go about his business and to do what we wanted him to do, we wouldn't have had sky-high inflation. We wouldn't have had the border situation. Laken Riley wouldn't have been murdered. We wouldn't be losing hundreds of thousands of people to drugs every year, our youngest people. We wouldn't have this ridiculous, divisive identity politics in the classroom. We wouldn't have children out there desperate for relevance, attention, or what have you, going down the slippery slope of medical mutilation just to put their flag in the sand and have somebody pay attention to them. It wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have had trillions of dollars of spending. COVID would not have been, the jab wouldn't have been mandated for you. You wouldn't have lost your job. Your children wouldn't have fallen through the cracks. You wouldn't have stopped saving for the future. And many Americans wouldn't have committed suicide. January 6th never would have happened. Think about what they set off. Ask yourself, do they do anything that benefits you? Is your life ever better when these people are a part of it? When do they care about you? They don't. And I want you to hear this ridiculous montage, a mashup of them parroting the same things, as though you're too stupid to pay attention, if you even are listening to them anymore. Here's your left-wing media mashup, and the phrase of the week is constitutional crisis. You're going to hear Caitlin Collins, Pramila Jayapal, Elizabeth Warren, Ilhan Omar, Cory Booker, all pushing the same jazz.
We are 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, 3 weeks, and tonight there are warnings that the U.S. is dangerously close to a constitutional crisis.
That is a constitutional crisis. That is a crisis for our democracy. We've got our toes right on the edge of a constitutional crisis here.
What we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis.
To defy court orders brings about a constitutional crisis.
We've moved from a constitutional crisis to a constitutional collapse.
Wow. Desperate. Now, this is exactly the same garbage that they screamed in President Trump's first term. Let's take you back to 2018, 2019. See if you can hear the familiar words.
Open warfare between the Trump administration and Congress has Democrats declaring that a constitutional crisis is upon us.
I think if the president takes too many more actions here, he's on the precipice of, well, prompting a constitutional crisis.
The problem is, as was just described, we're heading rapidly towards a constitutional crisis.
I'll just tell you, this could precipitate a constitutional crisis.
Nobody's saying it's going to be okay, Mika.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, this is a constitutional crisis, which is why we said this is a constitutional crisis.
Oh my gosh, you are now dumber. Let's just go through some of the headlines to make sure the media got the talking points. NPR headline, are we in a constitutional crisis? The New York Times, Trump's actions have created a constitutional crisis, scholars say. CNN analysis, as Trump team overhauls government, a constitutional crisis looms. Bum, bum, bum. Wall Street Journal, opinion, is there a constitutional crisis? Brookings, how is civil society responding to the U.S. constitutional crisis? The Hill, we've got our toes right on the edge of a constitutional crisis. Washington Post, what is a constitutional crisis? Got it? Got it. Buying it? No. I want you to hear what John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana, said yesterday. Isn't it so odd? Ironic, almost. The same people who are calling out about a constitutional crisis, screaming about these audits, make them stop, are the same people that wanted 87,000 armed IRS agents sniffing up your skirt.
It strikes me as breathtakingly ironic. The cynic might say cynical, that the people who are screaming so loudly about President Trump's decision to audit federal spending are the very same people under President Biden who wanted to hire 80,000 new IRS agents with guns to audit the American people. As I've said before, if it weren't for double standards, there wouldn't be any standards at all in this town.
And they think you're too stupid to remember that. The left championing a monster growth of the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing we don't need more of other than IRS agents is lawyers. Okay? Let's just call that out. In audio soundbite number 2, Senator Kennedy continues, and he says it the way it is. Look, you're either for figuring out where the fraud and the waste and the corruption and the garbage is going, or you're not. Pick a side.
Some of my colleagues have decided to support the bureaucracy and the spending porn over the American taxpayer. That's what they've done. And some of the same people, it's not just my Democratic colleagues. There are many people in Washington, D.C. that have grouped together and they've circled the wagons and they've decided to support the spending porn and the bureaucrats over the American taxpayer. That's their right. It's not against the law or unconstitutional to be foolish in America. But these are the same people. These are the same people who chose to support illegal immigration over the rule of law.
I don't know how much more clear you can be, Senator. I concur. Now, mind you, these same voices in the Uniparty who are shopping around, they're doing some judicial shopping, trying to see in what district they can have the right kind of judge to rule on their behalf, to do whatever they can do to throw a spike strip onto the tires of progress, right? I think they're very worried about some of these things that are apparently going to be released imminently. There is a big one that Glenn Beck drops on the Patrick Beck David podcast. He says something monster is about to drop within the next week and a half. Want to know what it is? I do. It's next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Newsmax is in hearings.
Oh, good. Thank you for letting me know. I've gone down to my dregs of Dr. Lakey. It's very disappointing. I need to call and put more pressure on them to give me more. Could I get it in a trowel form? It's this cute little dainty thing. Where do I have it? It's over here somewhere. This is the magic wrinkle eraser. Well, it's not magic. It's science. There's diamond dust with an epoxy that Dr. Leakey put together, which is amazing. And it fills areas that have fine lines and wrinkles. And the diamond dust then sparkles when light hits your face. And it creates this optical illusion with people looking at you that hides the appearance to their eyes of your fine lines and wrinkles. What? I just in 10 seconds told you everything about it. I know. Sorry. But the good news is, you have a 60-day money-back guarantee with this. Beverly Hills MD, BHMD1. Beverly Hills MD, BHMD1.com/Wendy. Oh, there is some. How you doing? I know. Who does this? I guess people who are 54. I wonder if I put more. Do you think it would fill that spot, or should I just quit while I'm ahead? I use it all day long. I love it. It's super smooth. And if you look at pictures of yourself after you look at it, after you use it, BHMD1.com/Wendy. Dr. Leakey is an unknowing boyfriend. But if you watch the video at BHMD1.com/Wendy, you'll be like, how you doing? He's cute. Hello, 13,300 people. How are you? Hi, Demanda. How are you, babe? Is Cousin Allison in? Hi, Winky, Winky, Nod, Nod. Hi, Darius. Hi, Real 23 and Braxton 279.
Did you beat up Rumbles?
I did not.
282.
Hi, Tiedman Pat. I know we're very disappointed. Can we please get to 3? Can we just get to 3 before we come back? That's 180 people, 170 people, whatever he said it was. That's all we need. And that totally helps us as we into the second half of the show. Then I don't have to sit there and think about it. 4,000 is that like the magic mark. 5,000 is like, but 4,000 is where we love to be. So if you're on the on the Rumble page, get out of the chat, hit the button, thumbs up, give us a thumbs up. 9 thumbs downs. How are you? Welcome. If you give us a thumbs down. Hey, if you gave me a thumbs down and you don't mind sharing, hook us up in the message section here. Share with us why maybe you don't like what I'm saying. I'm always interested.
And don't beat them up for sharing.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat anybody up.
Not you.
Well, I kind of did because that one lady said I was fat shaming, and that just pissed me off because that's just stupid. I can't affect how you hear what I'm saying. I can only tell you what my intentions are, and then somebody's got to be responsible along the way. So it is what it is. Anybody? Hello, Wendy from a comfortable 69 here in Okeechobee, Florida. Beautiful. That's nice. Hi, Glow.
I hate the begging for thumbs. Well, just hit the thumbs up then.
I'm not begging. I'm telling you, this is how we proceed in the world of online. Freebird, 5,000. It's possible. Freebird, do you think I'm begging? Does it sound like I'm begging? Nobody wants to be begging. Let's see. Readout of President Donald Trump's meeting with King Abdullah of Jordan. That was a very interesting exchange. You see the world leaders treating America with quite a bit of dignity, quite a bit of respect and deference. Anything you want, Mr. President. What can we do? What can we do together? I'm like, hell yeah. So interesting to hear Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, talking about these regular meetings that the president and the DOGE group and the speaker are in, doing a lot of important work on this committee, the DOGE subcommittee, and trying to do what Congress has apparently been unable to do. And this is where you've got the bipartisan suck. This is by no means Democrats only. And quite frankly, I'm far more offended by Republicans who pretend to vote on our behalf and care about what we care about, only to not. And I have a list of them saved on my computer. 101 Republicans who went along with the infrastructure bill. 100 and so Republicans who went with the, $1 trillion coronavirus relief garbage that did very little to do anything to relieve us, certainly not of coronavirus. I find these people reprehensible on both sides. I want you to hear Mike Johnson, though, said this yesterday, very interesting about meeting with Elon Musk. Listen.
I met with Elon yesterday about this to get an update. And to me, it's very exciting what they're able to do, because what Elon and the DOGE effort is doing right now is what Congress has been unable to do in recent years, because the agencies have hidden some of this from us. You know, there's a lot of oversight activity that goes on around here all the time, you all know, but when duly elected representatives of the people request information to find all of these abuses and it's not turned over to us, what it takes is an actual audit of the systems and the files themselves that are often hidden from Congress. That's what you're seeing right now. And that's why this is so exciting. They're uncovering things that we have known intuitively have been there, but we couldn't prove it. Now the proof is being provided, and no one can argue the counter to that. So stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. And I think the courts should take a step back and allow these processes to play out. What we're doing is good and right for the American people. What DOGE is doing is making sure that your taxpayer dollars, all of us, are spent in the way that they're intended to be spent, and that they're in America's interest, and they're financially responsible with the precious taxpayers' money. We have a $36 trillion federal debt, and we have got to get a hold of these things. You're going to see it reflected in the reconciliation package that comes forward. You're going to see it reflected in appropriations as we go forward, and you're going to see it in these efforts to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse. And we think the final number on that is going to be substantial and a game changer in Washington for the country.
Hundreds of billions of dollars, possibly $1 trillion. Elon Musk is saying he's going to be able to eliminate, or at least identify and say, why are we doing this? It's huge. There is also a weird vibe wherever these press conferences are. There is now a new level of decorum that has been restored to the White House. It's not a bunch of people running the show behind the scenes nobody knows about, nameless, faceless bureaucrats. There is a system. There is a hierarchy. There is a decorum. There is a manner of presentation, a manner of behavior that is expected. Don't shout at me. That's not how we're doing this. This is a civilized country. We found ourselves in some serious problems. We need to have serious conversations. And if you want to act like children, go elsewhere, because the adults have a country to save. That is the message. Yesterday, on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, Glenn Beck said something that was interesting. And it sounds as though the wheels are in motion for a giant bomb to drop on the American people. Listen.
The only thing I care about is the scandal of the pedophiles. And in the next 10 days, you're going to see the Epstein file released.
In the next 10 days?
Next 10 days.
Oh,
Yep.
please. You think in the next 10 days the whole thing's going to be released?
Yeah.
And what kind of information you have to be able to be that certain about it?
I plead the fifth.
In the next 10 days.
The next 10 days.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Next 10 days.
You're
I'm telling
teasing millions who want that list.
Day number 1, Kash Patel walks in. By the end of the day, it will be released. Oh,
please.
Did Kash Patel get confirmed yet?
Not yet.
They delayed it.
Did RFK get confirmed yet?
Not yet.
Tulsi? None of them.
The House, not Senate. Yeah.
So as soon as he's confirmed, his first day, it will be released.
Oh, I can't wait.
You know, and that's a huge can of worms that's going to be dropped. It's necessary too, because I agree with Glenn Beck. The single most important thing I want to illuminate and to stop is this whole pedophilia scourge, human trafficking, and the abuse of children in this country. Around the world, yes, but we have to focus on us. And this is the epicenter of it. And I'm reminded of this list dropping of Chelsea Clinton's picture on her wedding day, walking down the aisle, pale, next to a gaunt, ghoulish-looking Bill Clinton. And sitting in the audience, down the way past Chelsea to the right, is none other than Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, nobody's going to be surprised when Bill Clinton's name is all over this. Nobody's going to be surprised when Bill Gates' fingerprints are all over the travel logs. You've already been prepped for that. It's the names you don't expect. And that's what's coming. And that's how you heal. you gotta hurt first. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Rhino, New York or New Hampshire governor, former Chris Sununu, boy, he made Anderson Cooper melt down and swear on live television. Wait for the exchange as the liberals lose their minds. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
I don't doubt Glenn Beck.
I don't either.
He's been right about everything else. And, you know, if you've paid attention to Glenn Beck, and I have, he's tight with Cash Patel.
He's appeared on a show a lot.
Multiple times.
And
right.
and deep
In
dives.
depth.
Deep dives. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you.
And he was at the forefront of Burisma. He's been ahead of the game on all of this crap.
Glenn Beck.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember his it's almost like he had a laundry line out and they just were hanging stuff on it. This person was over here doing such and such. Why is that important? Well, let's come over here to this person. And you're like, oh my God.
We talked about it. And I said, you know, Glenn Beck 2 years ago, longer than 2 years ago, was talking about, he did his chalkboards, right? And like, you're watching it and you're like, who? What? And then 2 years later, you're like, I know that name. I went back and watched it about the Ukraine corruption. And it's amazing what he said prior to that. I was like, what's that? To the point going, yep.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing as well that you don't have to have. Look, I almost gagged when I was talking just peripherally with Dr. Richard Rafferty from the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. And you don't think about things that aren't a problem for you yet, right? I don't think about my back or my spine, but when he dropped this number on me that 4 out of 5 of us is going to need a spinal specialist in our lifetimes, I was like, what? 80%? What are you even talking about? He's like, it's just terrible because when you age, right, you have bulging and herniated discs in your back and in your neck, and oftentimes they require surgery. But if you go to see Dr. Rafferty and get a second opinion or a first opinion first, you can stave off that necessary surgery and instead go through a non-surgical treatment that allows your discs to grow back, which I just think is crazy. I mean, it's nuts. 412-906-9600. That's the number for the PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. Call 412-906-9600 and ask Dr. Rafferty's team about whether you're a candidate. If you don't have an MRI, but you know something sideways in your back, they can help you get one. And Dr. Rafferty can tell you if you're a candidate for this non-surgical treatment. That is 98% successful. That's why I say write down the number, put it somewhere. Might need it. Probably are going to need it. You're going to be like, what did Wendy say? 412-906-9600.
And for the people who said that, you know, but Glenn Beck was against Donald Trump, there's nothing wrong with being against somebody if you see.
So is Joe Rogan.
If you turn around and say, okay, well,
you're allowed to change.
I'm allowed to say, okay, I made a mistake. This was the right choice. So I've said multiple times I didn't vote for Trump the first time. Do I regret not voting for him this first time? Yeah, but you know, what are you going to do?
Who was the candidate?
Did I
Hillary.
vote for?
You didn't vote for Hillary. You voted for. Didn't you vote for?
I voted for the Libertarian.
Joe Jorgensen? No. That was 20.
Oh, you're going to remember his name. He's the guy that said, I don't know where Aleppo is. Gary Johnson.
Oh. Dummy.
And I'm sitting there going, why do I care where Aleppo is? We shouldn't be sending money. I don't know where Aleppo is either.
This is all very interesting, though, I think. Oh, by the way, let me tell you quickly about the healthyfat.com/Wendy. This video has been watched by more than 20 million people. And Dr. Gundry, who lost 70 pounds himself, using this very strategy that he puts in a jar for you that you can get in a scoop in water. He's seen thousands of people lose dozens of pounds. He lost 70 20 years ago and he's kept it off. And he thinks that, you know what? I think a lot of people feel like obviously they're not able to lose the significant weight they want. And Dr. Gundry says there's something in your body that you can flip, a switch you can flip that releases the calories that you kind of hold on to. And that's what this helps you do. It's called MCT Wellness. That's the product. I'm drinking it right now. It's quite delicious. But you get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. And the video tells you why. Why is your body doing this? It's so educational. I think that's the best part of all, is learning something. Each of these videos that our products push you towards teach you something. Whether or not you end up getting the product is almost irrelevant. I mean, not to them, but to me. Like, I want you to be educated. Learn something. I love to. I'm sure you do as well. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Are we still sucking in the world of, let's see, 3.24. You guys rebounded all right. That was a pretty good rebound. That was a good rebound. Thank you. This is one of those teaser beezers where I'm like, don't miss the third hour of today's show, particularly the last chunk of it, because we broke down some sound out of this Oval Office discussion that President Trump and Elon Musk had with members of the media. And it's very interesting because we're off the heels of 4 years of shuffling Joe Biden away from the cameras, of concealing what's really been going on with him, of lying about his medical condition to the degree to which his own personal physician would go on to lie and say that he's absolutely A-okay, except for a little spinal arthritis, because that's what it is that has him walking like a robot. Dude's been weekend at Bernie's since the beginning. That's why they had to farm him out 40% of the time. I mean, watching him asleep on the beach while Ukraine was being blown to smithereens. If that didn't wake up enough people, I mean, honest to goodness, what will? But President Trump, in a very patient way, which I found very inviting. I am not patient at all. And he sits and he listens. He gives the floor to Elon Musk, who's a terrible communicator. God love him. I imagine his brain is just firing on all these weird signals flying across, and he's trying to make sense of it all and boil it down into things that you and I understand. I mean, literally, that's how I look at him, and his mind is like, bzzz. But very patiently, Trump allows Elon Musk to describe some of the things that he has found, some of the waste, some of the redundancy, some of the ridiculosity that no prosperous country can continue paying for in perpetuity if it ever wishes to be solvent again. And he said this. He said, did you know that when you retire in the United States and you qualify for retirement benefits, Social Security benefits, that none of those details are on like a computer database? It's all written with like a Bic pen and a piece of paper. I was like, what? There's got to be a punchline. There was no punchline. He said, did you understand that federal employee retirements are processed using paper by hand in an old limestone mine somewhere in Pennsylvania, where 700, more than that, mine workers operate 230 feet underground to process 10,000 retirement applications for benefits every month, which are then stored in manila envelopes and cardboard boxes. And the whole retirement process takes months and months and months. What? I thought for sure he was kidding. But then if you follow on X, the DOGE handle, here's a picture of it. Here's a picture of the entrance of this mine and the boxes and the walls and the car. I mean, it's ridiculous. What are we doing? If Apple can keep updating my stupid phone so that I don't know how to use it anymore, nothing works effectively, and that's the cost of progress, what the hell do you call a labyrinthine maze? Like Hamas terror tunnels somewhere in Pennsylvania where all of this information is kept because nobody's put it into the 21st century. Wait, what? And we should be worried about AI? How about we get everybody up to speed doing anything even remotely logical? I mean, and he's like, does that make any sense to anybody? And the media who are sitting there in the Oval Office silently, like you couldn't hear a pin drop. You could hear Elon's little boy, little X. He was chirping a little bit during this, but other than that, it was silent. People are stunned. I don't think we'd have a clue how completely stupid our government is. I just don't. And I'm worried, like if we knew, we'd all be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? So I want to hop on over to this CNN panel where Anderson Cooper ends up calling Chris Sununu, the former New Hampshire governor, rhino that he is, a bag of Durbans, if you will. He calls him a Durban. And he does this on live television, like dinner time television. Now, for the 4 people whose children might be in the room with them, it's really a bad look. It's one of the super duper frowned upon things. Like, look, I know we're all about smoking weed all over the place, open air vagrant drug use, feces on the sidewalk, people living in tents, people running around the White House, trannies with their implants out of their bras. I mean, I know this is a brave new day, but the weirdo, traditionalist in me thinks, we need to dial this back a little bit. Well, let's have a little self-respect. Chris Sununu is saying, what DOGE is doing, uncovering $2 billion of waste or fraud every single day. It's like, who could possibly believe that this is going on? And then the panelists around him, none other than Jeffrey Toobin. Oh boy.
Speaking of self-respect.
Wow. And of course, then there's Anderson Cooper. They lose their minds. Listen to the exchange. It's worthwhile.
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the treasury that had no justification.
There's no he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months, is insane. Well, these guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no specifics, that's just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys. 23 days. You're talking about 2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving 2.3 billion a day.
Right, but
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying. But where's the proof?
You're waiting. You're not going to be satisfied till he shows up with 10,000 pages.
But we're talking about 10,000 pages. He's giving very specific things,
yes,
but he's not actually giving any evidence of that.
It's all going to come because what they also said was, if we have to go to Congress, we'll go to Congress.
Right, but
we'll show where it is.
Some of the details that have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels, it's actually not.
Talking about the FEMA money that was abused for migrants.
Yeah.
FEMA money for migrants, that's okay now?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words in my mouth.
So would you stop that? Would you stop that process?
Don't be the portrayal. What I'm saying is the portrayal by him is.
Don't be a D word, he said. So let me get this straight. All of a sudden now the left wants proof of the fraud that Elon is finding. But this is the same left that wasn't at all interested in the proof of the Biden crime family syndicate. Just so we're all on the same page. We all on the same page there, Brock. We are understood.
Well, these are the Democrats who want proof, but are also in court shutting it down to where they can get the proof.
Yep. We don't want you. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the proof. Why do you think they shut down anybody's questions about the 2020 election. It was universal. It was a blanket policy. La, 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 la. I do not hear you. That did not happen. We will not report on it. And since we determine the narrative is that didn't happen. You're selling the big lie. Hey, Anderson, how many CNN headlines have you guys put out there? How many panel discussions have you engaged in as the moderator that looked into at the least the $30 million that Joe Biden and family made from Kazakhstan and from Russia and from China and from Ukraine? Why aren't you talking about the ghost phones and the pseudonyms and the shell companies and the Biden family members? What about the big guy there, Anderson? See, we've been covering all of this stuff. We've provided it for you, but you just don't want to hear it. But now that the grift is coming home to roost, show me the proof. Weird. Now, this is a great example of a real-time wrap-up smear. I want you to hear Mika Brzezinski with this guy. His name is Danny Cevallos, or whatever the hell his name is, Cevallos. He is a legal analyst over at MSNBC, all right? Mika Brzezinski is the host of this, and she's going to drop on this guy. Hey, I'm going to read you this NYT article, New York Times article, about Donald Trump's flurry of executive orders causing this constitutional crisis. You're going to hear in these two audio sound bites, you're going to hear the hook that she hopes to put out there and wrap up in a smear that Donald Trump is gumming up the works and this is terrible and he's trampling all over the Constitution, which all of a sudden we care about. Here you go.
Danny, if you look at the front page of the New York Times right now, it says basically we're in a constitutional crisis, even though there isn't a complete clear definition. Citing different deans of law schools from across the country and experts talking about being in this crisis because of the flurry of things that Trump has done, from birthright citizenship, freezing federal spending, shutting down agencies, removing leaders from agencies. The systematic, unconstitutional, and illegal acts create a constitutional crisis, one legal expert said. The distinctive feature of the current situation, several legal scholars said, is its chaotic flood of activity and collectively amounts to a radically new conception of presidential power. It is a constitutional crisis when the President of the United States doesn't care what the Constitution says, regardless whether Congress or the courts resist. Up until now, while presidents might engage in particular acts that were unconstitutional, there was never a sense that, the Constitution was meaningless. And the bottom line is the flurry and the chaos of it may make it so that the courts won't even have the time to react.
I don't even know what the heck she just said. She read one person's idea, some liberal hack's idea, that this is what Donald Trump has been elected to do, what Donald Trump ran on doing, what he went all over the country in the years leading up to the election, promising that he would do. He can't do because it's a crisis. Listen to this legal analyst not take the bait of the smear.
I think we need to be careful with the term constitutional crisis, because as I define it, that would be a situation where the Constitution doesn't have an answer and there is a pressing conflict. The flurry of executive orders, the chaos, that I think doesn't get us to crisis yet. It is irritating for the courts. It is challenging. It could lead to a serious problem if, as you said, they become too congested with dealing with these orders.
They keep coming.
The crisis occurs, and we've already talked about it, at the moment when there is a court order and the president or the administration refuses to follow it. Because historically, we don't really have a clear answer for what to do in that situation. On the first half of it, issuing a bunch of executive orders, not only do we know that the courts can handle it, they already did this back in 2017. This is the same MO. The Trump administration then would just fire out executive orders. It felt like they weren't even spell checking them. And then they would let the courts prune them like the proverbial bonsai tree, or they would just withdraw them and go back to the drawing board. It's probably not the most efficient way of doing it. It's chaotic, as you said. It's problematic.
Yeah.
But constitutional crisis for me is the moment the court issues an order and the administration resists.
And Donald Trump was asked that very question in the Oval Office yesterday. And he says, I have no intention of disobeying an order from a judge. But we have to pay attention to why these judges are being shopped around to rule in the way they do to stop what the people elected me to do. Now ask yourself, what do the judges have to hide? And that's coming up. All right, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Lindsey Graham comes out. I don't know if he's going to stick the landing on this one. He's all about this audit. Let's go there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. They're so panicky. It's such a bad look. Such a bad look. Did you hear what's her face? Abby Phillip tried to berate
Scott Jennings.
Mhm.
Let me slow it down and talk
and he's
slower
like, you don't
for
have to talk to me like that.
Yeah.
We can have difference of an opinion, but you don't. That is the liberal way.
As she's making up shit as she goes
Yes,
along.
that is the liberal way. It's absolutely right. All right. Switch with Wendy. It's Patriot Switch. That's the name of what we do. The conduit to get there is a site you have to go to. It says switchwithwendy.com. And we have great testimonials from people. I know I got one this morning. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Blah, blah, blah. See, this is why I hate my phone. Here we go. So I love all of the products I've tried, and some of my favorites are the GC powder, especially strawberry mixed with milk. Tastes to me like strawberry milk, and I'm sure it's helping me control all of my blood sugar levels. When it comes to beef, I absolutely love Riverbend Ranch. The ribeyes are some of the best steaks I've ever had, and after eating them, went to one of the big steak franchises, tried a ribeye there, and it could not even compare to the quality I can get from Riverbend Ranch. This person says, I've been taking the vitamins at Patriot Switch for a while now. If I miss a couple of days, I can totally tell. These are the first vitamins that I've taken that have actually changed my blood work and truly lowered my cholesterol. Truly amazed. Chris and Linda write those things. Look, 450 products you can choose from. So many other ways to save money. You know, when COVID hit, the supply chain went crazy. Costs went through the roof. You know what products never changed cost? Everything that you can buy through Patriot Switch, switchwithwendy.com. They didn't change their prices. Why? Because they own everything. American made, American run, American everything. And these products you order from your computer, all the personal care stuff, things that you use to keep your family clean, your house clean, you feeling well, healthy and well, hundreds of products that save you money. You're already spending money at Walmart, Walgreens, Kroger, Amazon, all these companies. But do those companies represent your values? And if it matters to you that your money goes somewhere that does good, then investigate switching your money away from those companies and instead shopping with us at switchwithwendy.com. Switchwithwendy.com. See, now my kids are saying mom's email or mom's cell phone, when we put her on a group text, comes up as my email address and not my phone. I hate. And I hate that I have to actually go to an Apple store and be like, can you just fix it? Just fix it. That's where we are. You know?
You should probably buy me something nice while you're at the Apple store.
I've bought you a lot of nice things at the Apple store, my man. Do you want to go there with it?
It's work.
It's work. Yes. Yes, I'm keenly aware
I mean,
of that
I'm
fact.
just saying something nice, like not work related, like the new headphones that are fantastic. The over the ear ones. Sounds so good when they play. Just saying.
You're trying to profit off of my angst. That's super liberal of you. I don't think this was on my card. Certainly not my bingo card. Lindsey Graham, when asked about USAID being dismantled without much notice or ability to plan around the world, literally that is the question the reporter is about to ask him. Just one of those things that you get when you start paying attention to some of these bigger clips. You know, they're opening up the door to you to have a front row seat to what it's like to sit behind the Resolute desk as the President of the United States, having won re-election based on a promise to the American people that you're going to clean it up. That's what draining the swamp is. It's about streamlining. It's about what you do finally when you hit that max point and you look in the mirror and your clothes don't fit anywhere anymore, and you feel terrible inside, and it affects every single thing you do, and you go on an abrupt, this is it, cold turkey. I'm getting on a program, my own program. I'm losing weight. I'm going to start walking. I'm going to start feeling better. I'm going to take charge. I'm cleaning up my personal house. I'm going to do this. The people elected Donald Trump to do that for America. And he's opening the door for you to see and to hear some of the questions that get tossed his way. Because nobody's interested in celebrating the fraud and the abuse and obviously the savings that are adding up to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. They're not interested in the progress. They need a reason to complain. They need a reason to be angry. See, making America great again is for the betterment of all of us. Why are these people so desperate to keep things so inefficient and expensive and inconvenient and frustrating? It's almost like it's their blood. Here's Lindsey Graham being asked about USAID being dismantled, basically, with actually no notice or ability to do good in the world anymore. I want you to hear his answer because it's kind of interesting. Go ahead.
Have you spoken to President Trump about USAID? And what do you think about the way that agency has been dismantled without much notice, ability to plan around the world?
Well, USAID, under scrutiny, did poorly. I have been a big advocate for soft power. I'm a pretty hawkish guy, but I've been in charge of the 150 account, state foreign ops account, making sure the State Department is funded. To the men and women of the State Department, you're warriors in your own way. You serve in very dangerous places. I want you to have secure embassies and secure consulates. You represent the best of America. USAID is an agency that let us all down. I've been advocating for soft power for my entire time up here. And what I have seen makes me sick to my stomach. I am for helping starving people. I am for clean water. I am for making sure that we have ability to combat China and Africa, that we show up with the best of America. But Samantha Powers has been just texting me morning, noon, and night. Samantha, look in the mirror. The reason USAID is going to cease to exist as it did before is because it should. I can't go home and say, this is soft power. Operas, whatever agenda you got, needs to be focused on making America safer and prosperous for working with people. So USAID is a victim of their own excesses.
USAID is a victim of their own existence. Well, we're going to find out there are a lot of people who are Republicans who've been getting rich off of this whole grift as well. Illuminate it all. Show everybody everything. Be completely transparent. The people who are saying, yes, that's what we should do, I find interesting. Those who are saying, no, it's a constitutional crisis. Lindsey Graham, we should indicate, is the director at the International Republican Institute, whatever that is. But I can tell you, it got a lot of USAID funding, like $130.7 million. For what? When we come back, the media's total freakout. Yes, continues. It's time to end the era of activist judges. Next. Lindsay, I don't think you're clean either, dude. Government funds $130.7 million reported on IRS Form 990 to this International Republican Institute, a nonprofit funded by USAID. And Lindsey Graham is a director of it. Are you getting money from that? I don't know.
That's a rhetorical question.
I'm going to go with, let me get the magic 8 ball. You guys ready for the magic 8? It's been a while. Let's resuscitate this bad boy. Magic 8 ball. Is it possible that Lindsey Graham has been involved in a grift? I mean, who knows, right? It is certain. Is it possible that octogenarian whack job Maxine Waters is worried about her own fraud being exposed to the people? Don't count on it. Does Maxine Waters think that she's above the law, that she's untouchable because she's black and she's a woman? Without a doubt. All right, let me talk to you guys about Morning Kick. Brock should have already, but I know he didn't, so whatevs. This is what he relies on. I wish I had it over here. I had one, but he took it. So Morning Kick. There are a lot of reasons we drink certain powdered drink mixes during the day. One is the magnesium. That's not a powder drink mix. Excuse me. One is Dr. Gundry in the caloric bypass of the healthy fat. I also drink Native Hydrate. I want to tell you though about this one that Brock drinks that Chuck Norris is behind. I need to suck down like 6 more focus and recalls. Chuck Norris is behind this, and I love that somebody in their 80s is feeling like, I'm not as strong as I used to be, and then just accept it. He's like, let's do a dive on my body. Let's see what we're missing. What are we doing wrong here? And he put out a really cool video. And the thing I like about this Morning Kick is it gets everything, all of your systems talking and dependable and fluid, and also gives you a kick of caffeine, like energy, enthusiasm. So if you have a lull in your day and you want to counteract that about a half hour before you normally feel like that, drink some chuckdefense.com/Wendy. It's delicious. And the video that you're connected to shows you why it works, what is in it that is significant, and sources it all for you. You can make sure that it's for you. I think it's great. This one loves it. So I'm all about it. It's Morning Kick is what it's called, but we call it Chuck Defense. chuckdefense.com/Wendy. All right, 11 o'clock. How are we doing? $5, Darius. Wendy's Android funds. You need to switch, love. Really, Darius? That's nice, though. I appreciate that.
$5, cheapskate.
Wow.
For a phone?
He brought me flowers. So, I don't know. I'm kind of cheap and easy. Flowers. All right. What do you want? All right. I also want to tell you guys about Native Hydrate as I'm thinking about it. And this little pack, these are great. You can search for this multi-pack, variety pack, when you go to nativehydrate.com/Wendy. These are great, super easy. And then you can use my name at the end, and I think it unlocks that 44% off. Native Hydrate, it's electrolytes and amino acids. That's what it is. It's not water that keeps you hydrated. It's not guzzling a bunch of water. It's not about going to Gatorade either. This is a wonderful thing to think about if you have children playing sports. Native Hydrate, put this in a bottle of their water and have them drink it before they go to the game. I'm telling you, it locks in. It locks in the hydration in your body, helps your cells, it moves out the waste. So many things that it does. But it's the amino acids and the electrolytes that make a difference. I love the product and its native path. So I'm like, duh, I'm yours. Love them.
Where's my
nativehydrate.com/Wendy. All right, let's see what you guys got. Wendy, my husband, and now my son are enjoying Native Hydrate. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? It's cool. We're going to Dr. Simkovich later this week. And there's a man who wrote me, and he and his wife, I'm going to shop around and get them a group discount. They have husband, wife, son, I believe, all who've experienced multiple concussions. And I forget what he said they did. They were like motorcycle riders, like dirt bike riders. And he's hoping that I can maybe put in a good word. They're from where?
Oregon.
Yes, they're going to be coming in, and it's going to be a thing. But they want to go see Dr. Simkovich and see if he can unlock what's been wrong in their brains that has been injured over the course of years. That's what's great about it.
Part of it's living in Oregon.
That's the beautiful thing of the Simkovich Concussion Institute is it doesn't matter when your traumatic brain injury happened. Like Dr. Simkovich can diagnose you, and with his hands inside your mouth and around your head, he knows where to push. He knows the various points to touch that can unlock that healing for you. So it doesn't matter if it was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, or last Tuesday. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-366-3700.
That was a joke. I lived in Oregon and loved it.
412-366-3700. Yes, it's beautiful country.
No one take offense. I lived there for a little over a year, and minus the libs, it's beautiful.
Minus the libs.
A true story, full transparency.
Yeah.
It was 2001 when I lived there.
Uh-huh.
It's the first time it has a huge LGBT community.
Yes.
First time I saw two guys walking down the street with their hands in each other's back pocket. And it was just like, I mean, I come from a small town and I'm like,
right. You're a farming community.
Yeah. I'm like, what? It was a little eye-opening.
Homophobe.
Yeah. You know me.
You know, I call it as I see it.
Yeah, right. That's totally my MO.
I love the Magic 8 Ball. We haven't done the Magic 8 Ball in a while.
Correct.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
You told us when it could be time to panic. Well, is it time to panic? Well, let me just tell you, folks, it's never going to be time to panic because we're never going to give up. We're not going to give up on America. America's worth it. America is worth fighting for. America's worth not giving up. And while we have that attitude of not giving up, we are constantly going to be searching, strategizing, coming up with ways to prevail. We've got the basics. We have millions and millions of Americans that are fed up, can't wait to do something about it. There will be a series of ideas that people come up with based on dealing with the fraud that we know we have to deal with. You're not alone. You're not a singular individual all by yourself out there trying to fight these people by yourself. There are 74 million plus and growing. We're not going to give up on America.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program on the clock. Delighted to be with you. Hey, remember our entire program live streams. So Wendy Bell Radio Network is our app. Super easy to find. You can download it onto your device, join the live video stream. We do the commercials and everything and love chatting with you guys. Also our podcast. Wendy Bell Radio, 4 million people have downloaded that onto their devices and take us with them wherever they go. And I hope you join the army. Thank you for being a part of this. There's a January 6th hostage, prisoner, defendant who's been released from the gulags, who reached out to me the other day. He's heard several of my J6 interviews on this program, and he himself has just one of those breathtaking stories to tell. And his is actually very curious because it is his perspective, what he saw with Capitol Police on January 6th, their behavior, and then the undercover FBI guys who were in the crowd, who were obviously sticking out like sore thumbs. Remember, a lot of the people who were there who got caught up in that suck or former military. And I don't think you carve out the cop or the soldier in somebody after battle or after service. You're on heightened alert. You feel what's going on. You see things that are going on because that's how you're trained and that is how you survive. And literally at 2 this morning, he and I are going back via email, talking about some of the more egregious anomalies he was identifying and how he's really not been able to present that evidence to a judge. There is a sickening reality that is dawning on a previously slumbering America. And that awakening and that dawning is that justice is not just in this country anymore. That if you vote one way or lean to a particular side of the aisle, you will be treated far differently than if you are on the other side. That is not what Lady Justice and the blindfold represent. That's a rigged system. And Americans don't have faith in systems that they don't believe. Which is why this opens up a whole new can of worms when we're talking about elections. But we got to talk about judges. Because the people who are so afraid of Elon's discovering of waste and abuse and just abject laziness in many regards, these are the same people who are shopping their lawsuits around various specific districts where there is an activist judge ready to take the case and fall on that sword. And it's so obvious that everyday people who are busy, beaten by prices, worried about their own family's safety, are able to see it very clearly. So there's this judge, Paul Engelmayer. He's the guy who's blocked DOGE's access to the Treasury files. It's curious what one finds when you dig a little bit into these judges. The same way if we were to look at Judge Engeron, or we were going to look at Judge Mershon and his daughter, and the millions upon millions of dollars that Lauren Mershon was able to make, basically piggybacking off of her father presiding over Donald Trump's court case. Can we agree that that ought not happen? That's dirty. Well, this judge, what's his face? Engelmayer, who blocked DOGE's access to the Treasury files, is married to a woman who works for an open borders NGO that is funded by USAID. It's called the New York Association for New Americans. And it calls itself this refugee resettlement organization. It was an aid group that was established in 1946 after the war to help Jewish refugees from Europe resettle in America. It's funded by your money. Do you really think that Judge Paul Engelmayer wants to stop USAID from funding his wife? It's kind of gross that I would even say that, isn't it? And it's pretty amazing what his net worth has grown to be. I mean, if you think about it, Engelmayer is listed his net worth as a judge as $18.1 million, including $4.9 million in real estate assets involving, well, against a mortgage balance of $7,142. Other assets include $5.2 million invested with Berkshire Hathaway. He previously served as an assistant to the U.S. Solicitor General and as chief of the major crimes unit in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District. I'm going to go with those aren't jobs that make you rich. Something else makes you rich. Did he or his wife come from a lot of money? I don't know. It's a curious thing, though, to see. An $18 million net worth is a very large amount. I think Elon Musk is going to be looking into these things. How about Biden Judge Angel Kelly? She is the piece of work who has blocked Donald Trump's cuts to the National Institutes of Health. And until April of 2023, was director of something called Roxbury Youth Works. What's Roxbury Youth Works, and why would a judge be a director of such an organization? Well, it's a, quote, nonprofit, which offers, quote, support for people who are known victims of sexual assault or violence. Sounds like a worthy organization. Well, it received $3.3 million from USAID. Huh. That's weird. Well, then there's Judge John McConnell, who ordered Donald Trump to unfreeze the federal funds that were paused by the Department of Government Efficiency. McConnell is listed as the director of something called Crossroads, Rhode Island. Crossroads, Rhode Island, another nonprofit or NGO, which provides housing to the homeless in that state. Apparently, they received some money from USAID as well. And he's the director of it. Federal judge, the director of these things. Isn't that amazing? I hardly have time to shave my freaking legs, and I'm not a federal judge, right? And this guy oversees something that got $18,616,874 in USAID funds. Isn't all of this a little weird to you? That's just 3 of the judges. Did you know that Newsweek has a running list of judges who are working to stop President Trump and you and what you hired Trump to do? In fact, it says this is the headline for it. Full list of judges who have thwarted the Trump administration so far. Oh, here's so many. Lauren Ali Khan, appointed to the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia by Joe Biden in December of 23. She blocked the Trump administration's sweeping plan to pause the federal funding while it reviewed whether programs aligned with his agenda. And she did it minutes before it was scheduled to take effect on January 28th. Deborah Boardman, a judge on the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland, appointed by Biden in 21, spent more than a decade with the Federal Public Defender's Office for the District of Maryland before being appointed a U.S. magistrate judge. Well, she was the second federal judge to order a pause on Trump's executive order, seeking to end birthright citizenship for children for those illegally in this country. There's Judge John Kochenauer. He's a judge on the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington. He was nominated by Ronald Reagan in 81, has a reputation for being a tough judge, and has presided over federal high-profile cases. He was the first judge to block Trump's executive order denying birthright citizenship to the children of people living in the United States illegally. Paul Engelmayer, as we've already discussed, right? He's the guy who issued a preliminary injunction blocking Elon Musk and DOGE from the Treasury Department. Amy Berman Jackson, she was appointed in 2011 under Barack Obama, became known for her criticism of the first Trump administration's actions, and presided over several prosecutions stemming from the Russia investigations, including the prosecutions of Roger Stone and Paul Manafort. And on Monday, we should say, she ordered Hampton Dellinger to be reinstated as the head of the Office of Special Counsel, which is responsible for guarding the federal workforce against illegal personnel actions. Of course, they're fighting all of these early retirement offers from the Trump administration. And the list goes on and on. Meanwhile, the Trump administration, which has been hired by we the people to get to the root of the suck, is appealing all of these injunctions imposed by these federal judges, including those pertaining to DOGE. It's all about slowing it down, stonewalling it, gumming up the works, putting in roundabouts at intersections that aren't big enough for them. Yes? Yes. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want to talk about this White House saying that the Department of Government efficiency cuts are more than just a couple billion here, a couple billion there. Oh my goodness. I'm going to read you the list of what they found. Eye-popping. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
about the judge that demanded they put the websites for the CDC back up because they wouldn't be able to identify diseases? Doctors wouldn't be able to. I say what they should do is reinstate those pages, but when you click on it, have like the judge and all his corruption come up.
Yes. We're going to put a hyperlink here.
Yeah, we're going to troll the hell out of it.
Yeah, we're going to hyperlink this, and we're going to take you to places like that QR code on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, where Trump just starts
where he's
dancing.
just dancing and right.
That would be awesome.
Fantastic. Canolidine is what you need if you deal with mild to moderate focal pain, like tenderness in an area or soreness in an area, toothache, tense neck, headache, tension right back here that's tender to the touch. You roll on Frost, Canolidine Frost, and in 15, 20 minutes, your pain, 80% gone. I kid you not. All natural product that occurs in nature. I'm doing an Abby Phillip. I'm slowing it down for you. And then there's this one, the sublingual, the dropper that you put under your tongue. You let it hang out for like 30 seconds. It's spicy, I'll tell you. You're like, woo! Maybe drink a little water afterwards. Do it once in the morning, once in the evening. And this is for more persistent chronic pain. Give yourself 5 days on this. And then see how much better you feel. You wake up and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, something's off. I'm not limping. Trycono.com. trycono.com/Wendy. Stuff will change your world. I use it every day. I would never stop using it. Ever, 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 ever. This you can use for less than $1 a day. He tell you what canolidine is. He'll explain it to you. It's like an opioid without the side effects of addiction because it's not an opioid, but it tricks your mind into thinking that's what you took. It's pretty slick.
Kate banged her knee, and I was talking to her yesterday while she was at work, and she's like, I need to come home and put some canolidine.
Ah, I hope she feels better.
I said, don't use all the canolidine.
Oh my gosh. Really? That's terrible. You should love your wife.
Yeah.
I know you do, but
361. Let's go. You're gonna make us sweat it. Hit that rumble button.
I have one more to go. I bet Brock doesn't know who. Ouch. Brock likes to tell me though. And he's usually correct.
You're gonna have to make me think about it. I wasn't thinking about it because you were on a roll.
Oh, okay.
I'll have
This list from Newsweek is very interesting. If you're interested in going back to it, just put full list of judges. Newsweek, full list of judges, and it'll come up. It's crazy. And then talks about all of it. Newsweek is doing this. Like what? I need to go somewhere and get a tan. Does anybody else feel like a vampire? No, just me. Hey, Magic 8 Ball. Does everybody feel like a vampire this time of year? Yes or no? Better not tell you now. Really? That's a crappy cop-out.
8 Ball's tired of you.
No. People,
Yeah.
The 8 Ball loves me.
Tired.
No. I would love anybody out there when they hear people like Maxine Waters losing their marbles, calling Elon Musk a gangsta. Gangsta. Get your arse down here, she says, and so becoming when an octogenarian is swearing. Did you hear the other chants? F Trump, except it wasn't the F. They said it. These are your representatives. It's so tacky. It's so tacky, and they're so terrified, and it's actually delicious. Can we agree, no matter how you vote and what you feel about this president, that may be spending $784 million of our taxpayer dollars to build a new embassy in South Sudan. Maybe that's not a good play right now. Do you guys think, can we agree on that? I can agree on that. I think that's reasonable. I got this story from the Epic Times this morning. DOGE cuts now into the billions, said the White House. Amid Democrats' pushback, lawsuits, and threats to DOGE employees, the cuts keep coming, including almost $1 billion announced on February 10th. Well, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. After 3 weeks, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiencies made more than $1 billion in cuts, according to numbers from the White House. Some of the biggest savings reckoned by the White House stem from the cancellation of more than 100 contracts relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Trump's day one executive orders included one seeking to end DEI in the federal government. The White House estimates that those cancellations alone saved more than $1 billion. DOGE also ended a $784 million contract for a new embassy in South Sudan. And you know what's scary about that one? We don't even know if it's our embassy. Wouldn't that be a kick in the pants? Making an embassy for somebody else? I can see it. It's all a grift. Smaller cuts hit subscriptions for the media outlet Politico. From NASA, $500,000 and $26 million in contracts for executive coaching and strategic communication. Have you ever interviewed somebody for a job who has actually no skills, who has this really beefed up interview, or rather CV, their resume looks like they've done all these things, but it's all just word salad, Kamala Harris kind of descriptions so they can be unburdened by what has been? They have no idea what they can do because they've never done anything. They encompass $101 million worth of DEI-related training grants from the Department of Education, a department that Trump has floated eliminating. He also just said FEMA needs to be destroyed. Let the states do it. Let the states figure out the money. Let the states figure out how to respond to their people. It makes sense. The federal government is good at nothing. All you got to do is look at the Postal Service. Any questions? DOGE also publicly announced the end of $9 million in contracts with the Department of Agriculture, including for a Women in Forest Carbon Initiative mentoring program and Central American Gender Assessment Consultant Services. It's so stupid. It's so insulting. They do it to your face and want you to say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Representative Blake Moore out of Utah, co-chair of the bipartisan House DOGE caucus, told the Epic Times that DOGE was going through and creating some waves, and they're definitely creating some airwaves. Oh, yeah. Representative Adriano Espaillat, whatever his name is, from New York, told the Epic Times that DOGE was designed to take from the poor to give to the rich. That's one of those tired narratives. Elon Musk is giving his billionaire buddies access to your money, says Maxine Waters. Stop lying, Maxine. You know, if you people would just tell the truth ever, you would age far more gracefully. You wouldn't look like that. You wouldn't have that resting bee face there. Max, Mad Max, always angry, in a scowl. What does it take, like 7,000 facial muscles to frown like that and like 6 to smile? Oh my gosh. The face is permanently frowned. DOGE is carving out suck every which way. But it was when Donald Trump said, and Elon Musk echoed, and you're going to hear it coming up. Why are these judges trying to stop us? What are the judges making? What is the judge's net worth? How did they get to be so wealthy? How does a doctor making $200,000 a year live in a modest 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in thus and such zip code when a federal judge around the corner has a $4 million palatial estate with an in-ground pool? We're going to find out. Do you think maybe that's why they're nervous? I'm going to go with yes. So strap in, buckle up. We're going to open the door to this conversation straight from Elon and the president's mouth. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
you want me to be right?
I love it when you're right. I celebrate your rightness.
Unless you did it when I was in the bathroom, more Gains Fitness.
That's so annoying. I couldn't remember it if it was in my face. I'd be like,
that's my job.
It's really not. It's my job.
It's both our jobs.
It's really my job, but I appreciate you making sure I do my job. All right, I hear Kelly. Kelly's having this big merch sale, her winter merch sale at More Gains Fitness. And I'm going to tell you, if you do like workout clothes and you want to support Kelly, a veteran mom, small business owner who's really taken this whole idea of fitness to the next level, go to More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Because through, I think, February 23rd at like midnight, they're having the sale, and the sale is great. She likes to liquidate a bunch of stuff, get room for the new things that are going to be coming in. And this is a great way for you to support Kelly Morgan and what she does at More Gains Fitness. MoreGainsFitness.com. What's Nick saying? Did you see Nick got into it with, that's awesome. All right. Took 30 minutes. All right, I'm going to go on X and see what else I can get. God, oh, Dick.
How about, I think it's, what's that? Garcia from Florida or California, the Democrat. He's on the DOGE committee and said on MSNBC, he's on the DOGE committee just to cause problems. Like, really? This is what they don't get. We're tired of this shit.
Yes.
Tired. We're so used to you getting nothing done.
Ugh. Richard Levine in a picture.
Then we're done.
Ugh. If my hair ever looks like that, will you just...
Like what?
Richard Levine's.
Oh, God. It won't. You don't have a penis, I think.
How does that affect my hair? I think he's got a perm. Mine's all natural.
Oh.
I mean, people would pay for this kind of fabulosity.
Ultra,
just
I don't
saying.
care.
You don't care about what?
Ultra said, Brock, we're tired of Toto. I don't care. I don't take requests. I don't care.
What if we found a new song?
No. No.
Why?
I'll tell you what. You all start pushing the buttons, and you can make the decisions. Till then, I make decisions. Executive decisions. Sorry, this side of the booth is a dictatorship.
So why? Tell everybody why you like that song.
Because it started 4 years ago, and you always dance to it, and you said it calms you down. So it became kind of a thing. When you call me, what rings?
Toto. How is that like proof positive of anything?
I don't need you to buy me a bottle of bourbon. I've had multiple people buy me bottles of bourbon. I don't even have room in my bar anymore.
So what you're saying is you're actually trying to do it for me, but you secretly really like it.
I do like the song. It also tells me we're a half an hour away.
Wow. You trying to get
minutes.
home?
No.
All right. All right. Let's see how well you guys are doing. 11-3. Hi. I'm glad you're
vote
here.
For a song. See, here's the thing.
310. 310 to go.
Your vote. I'm a Democrat here. Your vote doesn't count.
Let's do this.
It is what it is.
Let's do this. If we get to 4K before the end of this segment tomorrow, We won't play Toto here.
No, but no, please. I'm not. It's not negotiable.
I'm open to negotiating. I think this is a democracy, and we should.
I think you're wrong. So, whoever shows up to push the button and knows what button to push. Sorry. Not sorry.
Wow. Okay.
I don't get to make many executive decisions. I'm married at home. I'm essentially married here. So, like,
wow.
As a guy, I get to make very little decisions. So,
did anyone hear the Senate Dems speaking, lying so absurdly on record about their disapproval for Tulsi for DNI?
oh, Froggy's trying to buy your love.
Richard is copycatting your hairstyle.
$20, Wendy Bell. Will you be my Valentine?
Froggy.
For 50, not 20.
Yes. Will you be my
Cheap
Valentine?
and easy.
Aw, that's so nice. Jackie says I seem uncomfortable to sing.
I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I guess the rain's down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never did.
Welcome back, my friends. You're dialed into the Wendy Bell radio program. Delighted to be with you. So this takeaway I have of Elon Musk, when President Trump calmly lets him, and Trump is really so he's so level, isn't he? He's so even. And as a fiery personality, astrologically speaking, I'm in Aries, so I don't know what that means. I just thought I would drop that on you. I get all over the place. I'm up and down. I'm in and out. I'm in knots. I can cry. I can laugh. And it's I know it's an emotional roller coaster. I reserve the right to be weird. Donald Trump is a brick wall. Very, very calm. Doesn't get really fired up about anything. You don't see him losing his temper. He expects a certain level of class and order and decorum. And he gets it. And it's really interesting to watch. So he has Elon Musk with him, with Elon's little boy, who's darling. And by the way, very well behaved. I don't know how many people would bring I don't even know how old the kid is, 4-year-old, to meet with the president of the United States in the Oval Office. But I kind of like all of that. And if you pay attention to what Elon Musk says versus what is said about him, if you decide to make up your mind about a very curious individual, you start to hear things differently. The way Joe Rogan started to hear President Trump differently when he stopped paying attention to MSNBC and he stopped paying attention to what Karine Jean-Pierre was saying and lying about at the podium in the White House press briefings. If you carve out what people want you to believe about somebody, and instead you allow yourself to make up your own mind, yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but it's really remarkable what you hear. And I will tell you what I hear out of Elon Musk. I see a man who is extraordinarily intelligent, obviously. I believe his brain operates on a level that is probably quite ostracizing. I would presume it would be difficult to find authentic, quality, down-to-earth, maternal people out there as a woman when you have a mind like Elon Musk's. I think that would be very challenging and could in many ways be very lonely. He has many children, and if I'm not mistaken, it's from multiple people. And he obviously loves his children. And he was not a conservative. He was not a Trumper. But he saw what was going on in this country, and he started listening. Instead of listening to the media, he listened to President Trump. And they become friends. And Elon Musk can share some of his knowledge, paring down X, running his own businesses, in helping our United States government become more efficient. And if we aren't on board with that, then I don't even know where we're going with this thing. But he's very approachable. He's very common sense. And he says things in this Oval Office press conference, kind of impromptu, where he is asked by a reporter, how do we know that you're not making millions of dollars? You've got deals with the Defense Department, with your various companies. How do we know you're not making money off of this? He's like, I'm not the one who is making the decisions here. I'm not looking to benefit. Hear you me. This isn't about Elon Musk and Elon Musk's companies. This is about doing what is right, what is long overdue, that is necessary for the survival of the United States. And he says, I'm going to make mistakes. And I know that you guys are going to be all over it and you're going to call me out, as well you should. But the wonderful thing about this is the speed with which we will correct those mistakes is going to be super quick. I want you to hear Donald Trump say this. He says, look, what we know so far and what Elon and DOGE have uncovered, what this committee have uncovered, and going to continue to uncover, is so much fraud and waste. Here's the president setting it up.
If you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months, you know it's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, you know? They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe. Yeah. It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, you know, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
Yeah, tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts. So he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget.
Wendy Bell, breaking news.
It is confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, and that breaking news, Tulsi Gabbard has officially been confirmed as President Trump's director of national intelligence. Another massive loss for the deep state, of course. Getting the news from our friend Nick Sorter, and we join everybody in congratulating Tulsi. I think that is huge. Back to Elon Musk now. You know what? And I shouldn't just hopscotch past that. That's giant. That's necessary. That's your Senate. That's your Senate Republicans doing what they were voted to do. Listen to the will of the people. It's refreshing. Elon Musk here with his son sitting quietly on the floor in the Oval Office with Donald Trump sitting quietly at the Resolute desk. The reporter asks this question. You know, a lot of people don't like you, Elon. They don't like you. They don't trust what you're doing. He shuts it down in 20 seconds. Listen.
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted, we have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We've won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform.
AKA we won. Next question. Now they get into a lot of nuance about obnoxious grifting that has been discovered. In fact, in this audio soundbite, Donald Trump asks Elon Musk for specifics on government workers. This is the one that you need to hear. Federal workers. These are people in Congress and people who work in the bureaucracy. That is the Beltway, the swamp. People who make good money. People who make $100,000, $200,000 a year, who have this outrageous personal wealth somehow. It's so odd. Listen.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about $30 million?
Right.
Etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it.
And just the optics, just sitting here in this studio and looking to my left at the monitor that plays the video that you hear the audio of on the radio, that Elon Musk would take his little boy. It's a whole different ballgame. These are regular people. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are both billionaires. Do you get that vibe out of either one of them? Or do you get that vibe that they are fiercely protective fathers? That they are the heads of their household for a reason? That they would do whatever they can to protect their children? And that they have a deep and profound affinity for the United States of America and you and your family. And I'm struck by his little boy. Just standing there. This guy's a little muncher. Like a couple years old. It's all about that. It's about giving back to you and your family what has been taken from you and lied about. And ending it once and for all. And then he drops this one. Maxine Waters is saying Elon wants to steal your Social Security. No, what he's identifying is obnoxious fraud that steals from those who've paid into the system all their lives and deserve better.
There's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. That's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous. One of the two.
It's ridiculous. He's seeing it every single day. And the voices that want to shut him down, that are crying constitutional crisis, that are behaving judiciously in ways they should not. I think you guys see it. It's pretty clear. Now, are you going to see if a U.S. congressman decides to put out a video where he instructs illegal immigrants who've broken every law to get into this country how to know their rights and obviously avoid ICE? Now, would that be concerning to you? Yeah, that would be concerning to me. And it happened. And we're going to tell you who and what he said. Oh, my goodness. Next.
The big news is no kid was sniffed during that press conference.
Isn't that so gross? Think about the people in this in this cabinet. Save RFK Jr., right? You have Pam Bondi. I'm sure she's a grandma or a mom, right? She's young. She's a few years older than I am. I could be a grandma. I know it's so weird to say that. You have Tulsi Gabbard. She's young. Does she have children? I don't know.
I don't believe she
I don't think
does.
she has children. You have J.D. Vance with 3 young children and a wife. Marco Rubio has young children. It's wild. In this bench, you've got this Brandon Gill. He's a young man. He and his wife have a daughter. He was a investment banker or whatever the bejeebers he was. I'm sure the guy was making loads of cash, right? And he decides to go to work for the government. Like, why? And the people who are emerging as next level, Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't believe he's married or with children. Neither is Kash Patel. But these people are like,
I think
this is
he has kids.
This is a young. You think Vivek does?
Yeah, I thought he did.
I don't know. Does he? I've never seen him. They've been well insulated, as the case should be.
I think what turned Elon, if I'm not mistaken, is that he lost a kid to the woke mind virus.
Vivek was married. He has 5 children. 5 children, but one of them died.
I think Elon lost his one son to the transgender movement.
I could be wrong.
And that was what broke him.
Yes. No, I'm reading a different Vivek. I beg your pardon. Apparently he has 2, and he is married. He was married in 2015. It's curious how he's been able to separate to the point where I didn't even know if he had children or not. But, you would imagine, when was he born? He's a young man.
Come on, 210 Rumbles. Let's go.
He's 15 years younger than I am. That's just bonkers. He's not even.
He's younger than me.
He's not even 40. Can you guys give us the Rumbles? Give me Rumbles or give me. Wow, 210.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when I don't browbeat you. But okay, it is what it is.
There's is out spouting his fake news.
About what?
Saying you were 39. Come on, Darius. That's just fake news.
My man.
No one's buying it.
No,
So stop trying to
when I
sell
get
it.
my eyes done, though, I'll look like I'm 39. Maybe I'll see if I have the neck job and the eye lift. I think that'll look really good.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah. Look like you're always surprised.
No, it makes a difference. It makes a real difference.
The people tune in and be like, why is she so shocked about all this? Get all that Botox and you could be like, she's so stoic. Look,
I know.
nothing even moves.
Yes, his child. I think you're right about Elon and his son who did that. It's just such a bummer.
Wow. Elon is 53, Wendy. He's your age. No.
Yeah.
Wendy will be what, 55?
55. Yeah. It so doesn't bother me. It so doesn't bother me.
I know.
I think the only thing that bothers me is my mom, I think, was 55 when I got married. And I'm my mom's age. Oh, it's so
Richard Levine doesn't look a day over
74.
Yeah.
What a turd.
Looks good.
There's a definite difference. And it's so obvious between left and right. The left has accumulated this big tent of weirdos, right? Everybody with any kind of affliction, any kind of victim status, anybody who needs some attention, anybody who wants to chop a body part off or stitch one on, anyone who has multiple colored hair, anybody who believes that the rainbow should have been co-opted by the LGBT alphabet army, anybody who's over here who says that they've been a victim of racism, who's offended and triggered by Confederate statues, come on over. We'll help you. Welcome home. And then you have the other side, I mean, do we have weird people too? Hell yeah. Right? Like, we have Mitch McConnell, for heaven's sakes. But you look over to the other side, and you have people who are pretty normal, pretty traditional. I mean, is that conservative? Is that what it screams? Is that we're all traditional, kind of normal, common sense people? I mean, I'm not terribly radical. I'm not weird. I did, however, once take mustache bleach and put it in my hair, and I had a white stripe that went, I know. How you doing? We're not weird. It's not that weird. And everything over here, it's like, how weird can you be? This is odd because the guy you're going to hear, Dan Goldman, this is the heir to the Levi Strauss fortune. The guy's worth gobs and gobs and gobs of money, and apparently has an offshore account with $30 million in it in the Caymans. But I'm sure USAID had nothing to do with that. What would trigger Dan Goldman to sit down, have a pre-scripted paper in front of him that he's reading, and you can see his eyeballs. Look, as a former television news anchor, I can tell you, it drives me nutty to see people reading. It takes a real skill to not have your eyeballs do that, let me tell you. Dan Goldman is not a trained professional, but he does want to give advice to people, just not the American people he was elected to represent. Listen.
The Trump administration has carried out deportations, raids all across the country, including here in New York City. These are certainly uncertain times, but no matter what, it's important that you know your rights when interacting with law enforcement. In all circumstances, you have the right to remain silent, and in most cases, ICE cannot search you or your things without your consent. In all circumstances, you have the right to videotape the officers so long as you don't interfere with their work. If an immigration officer comes to your door, you do not have to open it. Always ask if they have a judicial, court-ordered arrest warrant. If an immigration officer comes to your place of work, you do not have to answer their questions. If ICE begins to search your things, you should say that you do not consent to a search. And if you are taken into custody, you have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. You have the right to call your friends, family, community, and any lawyers. Ensure that you have an emergency contact and memorize their phone number. Ensure that your contact can access all of your necessary documents, including identification, immigration papers, and any work authorizations. Make a plan with your family in case someone is taken into custody. And if you are having issues with a federal agency regarding your immigration case, please contact my office and we will do our very best to assist you. The next 4 years may look uncertain, but one thing is crystal clear. You and everybody has rights under the law that no president or a law enforcement officer can ever take away.
They broke the law to get into our country, Dan. Where is your video for your district in New York that you represent, Dan? Are you fighting for people not to get abducted? Not for human smuggling? Are you fighting against the scourge of addiction, fentanyl? What are you doing, Dan, for your people? What on earth would encourage you to sit down in some busy room where people are going in and out of a door that's very noisy with horrible acoustics? And by the way, if you're watching the live video stream, Dan looks a little sickly, a little gaunt. What's wrong, Dan? You worried? Do you have reason to worry? Because the people who voted for you have reason to question that vote, because you're clearly not for them, and you are clearly not for the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, they put it out for you to see. It's not complicated. It's common sense. The Wendy Bell radio program. Come on back tomorrow, you guys. I've enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Peace.